and it's just like, dude, how small is your dick? You need to with that.
Yes. Or the people who have glass back mufflers.
There you. Oh, those. Oh my word! I remember those. Yes, ladies,
They
I've
have-
gentlemen, and
never
everyone
heard
in
of that.
between.
What is that?
Okay, you're riding with somebody in this car goes.
Yeah, that's essentially a straight pipe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's called. It's the really loud cars that sound like they're roaring in your ears when they're driving by you. They're doing the speed limit. They're not going super fast. That is a glassback. It just increases the sound.
So basically, the kind of thing I was just talking about.
Not quite. They don't.
Basically,
Yeah,
come on, let it
similar.
go.
But there are a lot of cities ordinances now that are coming out that consider them to be noise pollution. They're so loud.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
people are getting
Totally
tickets for
are.
them. They are.
Yeah, they're horrible.
They are.
Hi,
And-
kids. Yes, this is Coffee with Lavender, and we're talking about automotive things, and that's,
Yeah.
I was
that's
wondering if we were on or not.
yeah, it's unusual for us, but what the heck? And I thought I would just drop into the middle of a conversation here and see what
Yeah,
you guys
right.
thought of it. And it seems that Amiga Nuts likes it.
Yeah. Well, I don't understand
Hello, Xander.
glassbacks. They're a pain in the ass. They're loud. They're noisy, and we had a group of people who would drive by the property at like 3 o'clock in the morning with glassbacks, and we eventually started calling the police because this is a rural community. There's no city noise whatsoever, and all of a sudden these people come roaring down the gravel road with glassbacks on, doing 55 miles an hour on a 35-mile-an-hour zone.
Oh, that's always nice. Yes. That's
Yes,
wonderful.
spewing dirt and rock, the breaking windows because bouncing rocks and shit.
Hi,
Yeah.
hi, Harmonica
It could be
Man.
worse. Like maybe they wouldn't be breaking windows. What if they were breaking wind?
Oh, this
That
is
would be
true.
even worse.
Yeah, especially if they broke the windows at the same time.
And especially if they did it in a closed garage, okay? Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd have to have that that pipe or whatever it is that you can expand and contract. That the garages used to use that. I don't know if they still do, if they still exist, where you'd hook it up to the muffler pipe and then through the closed door, the pull-down door, when you were working on
Yeah.
the car during the winter.
Yeah.
Yeah, the MSB's store was behind a gas station in the same building, so that's how I knew about that crap. Oh
Yeah.
my, oh my, and yes, here
My
we
old
are.
landlord had one of those.
Okay, there you are.
He
Yeah,
used to work on lawnmowers, and through the basic property, they've got engines, so he
Right.
had to have some sort of venting in the wintertime. Just because there's no grass doesn't mean you don't have to fix lawnmowers.
right. As a matter
Well,
of fact,
I constantly vent in the wintertime, so
well, you vent in July.
What's your point?
Oh, for the love of Saint going. Oh, you talk about times, and this is something this is totally out of left field. I was looking at an old clip, maybe about a week ago, where you, Neil, and I were on, and then you had Darth Dawkins giving us a hard time over in the side chat. I was looking at your hairstyle then, and I'm
Yeah.
looking at, my God, what an improvement!
Yeah.
The long
Well,
hair is
okay,
definitely
hold on.
doing it for you.
Well, that's the thing. I'm pretty sure I had long hair then too. It's just that
Nowhere near as long, no.
Well, I have been struggling my whole life to find a way to get my hair to behave. And the truth is that I was putting way the hell too much product in it in an attempt to make it like stick straight. Like, in the 80s when you had people where their hair was like so straight laser beams were jealous?
Oh, yes, yes.
Mhm.
Well,
My
I was
ex
trying
wore
to
her
do
hair that way.
and I'm just never going to manage it. So, I started finding better techniques
Hi,
for
Purple.
controlling this. unruly mop.
What?
She said, "Hello, purple."
Oh, yes.
Yeah, purple's here. Hi, dear. Yeah, the unruly mom. No, I'll go back and look at it again. But from what I remember, when I was looking at that, uh, the hair curled right under your jaw, about up to here,
Hmm.
and then now with that extra length going on, yeah.
But that's the thing. It's not extra length, though. That's the thing. It's just a matter of taking the flat iron to it properly.
Okay, okay.
I don't even bother. My hair's so fine, and if I tried to take a flat iron to it, I'd just burn it.
Yeah, well, my hair is coarse and thick and ugly. So what you
Yeah.
gonna do?
Oh man, I tell
Yeah.
you, I sit here and I think I like that coarse hair back though, because my hair was quite thick, quite coarse when I was younger, and it's become finer as I've aged. And
Hmm.
it was
I
fuller
used
when
yes.
I was 30 years old. Yeah.
In my 20s, I had a huge ponytail, lots of
Yeah,
thick
see,
hair, but it was
I
fine.
wish I could. I wish I could grow a ponytail down to my ass. I think that would be awesome.
I wish
I've
But
that
had
too.
the thing is, the flat iron tends to make it break off around about here.
hmm
So
Now that's really
the only thing.
interesting. I wonder how that works with the length at which it breaks off. One would think that the length would not necessarily be the
Well,
same
no,
all the time. You know.
well,
okay.
the thing, no, you gotta understand, it's because the damage is so bad. Like, I don't know, maybe if I started getting broken ends trimmed more often,
Yes.
it might not happen. But I mean,
It.
I hate going to a place where they might do that for me
Uh huh.
simply
Uh huh. Uh
because
huh.
they'll like insist, okay, let's wash your hair. And I'm like, if you do that, you're committing us to about an hour of straightening it again.
hmm
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Okay.
if you can just trim the ends dry, that would help all of us.
And they
Yeah.
won't hear it. Yeah. That's the other thing is I haven't been to someone who cuts hair for a living since 2009 because what happened the last time did not make me happy at all. Um,
Mm.
Right. Well,
I went in,
my.
my hair was maybe about this long, and it's like, can you
Uh
just
huh.
take off the little ends here, just a
Frizzies.
little bit of, yeah. Okay, it was up to here when she got through with it,
Yep.
and I was in tears. Like, okay, I need all the visual cues I can get, people, and the long hair is one of them. And yeah, it was
Right.
a few years before that hair grew back out.
My hair was down to my ass 2 years ago.
Oh
It was long
man.
enough. I was starting to sit on it,
Oh my, oh my.
and I trimmed the ends. I trimmed off all the split ends, and it ended up at my shoulders by the time they were finished trimming it
Oh, shit.
to get all the split ends off.
Okay,
And
you stop fighting.
um, right
Hey,
now, it's
stop it.
just now down after almost a year and a half down to about the middle of my back, almost
Okay.
to my waist. So it's been growing very slow, but it is growing. But I need to get it trimmed again because the more you trim your hair, the faster it grows.
See, that's not even true. The
I
more you
don't.
trim your hair, the less damaged it is. Like the less, because if you leave the ends split, they tend to split further and further up. So it's like getting the ends trimmed keeps it longer, but it doesn't make it grow faster.
Okay, okay. That's more closer, if you'll excuse my shitty grammar, to what I thought it would be, rather than making it grow faster. My hair, the growth slowed down. I used to have to get a haircut every 3 weeks or something like that. I have
Mhm.
not had a haircut in 11 years, and
Mhm.
it went, from here to where it is now. So what
Um
is this? 8 inches? I don't know. Not even.
Mhm.
Not even.
hmm. Yeah, maybe. but you can see where the damage is because it gets real fine at the ends.
Oh, on my hair. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And mine does the same thing, so I'm used to seeing it. Um, my hair is thicker at the top than it is at the bottom where all the split ends are. My mom's like, "Oh, you need to trim your hair again." I let her trim it last year, and it's only grown about 8 inches since then.
Hey there, Columbia.
So I need to let her do it again, but I really don't want to.
What I'd like to be
Hmm.
able to do somehow is what everybody says doesn't work is
Hmm.
trim it up little by little by little and then let the end,
Hey, hey,
where
hey!
it went in the splitting just grow on down, but they all say it doesn't, and I understand how that would work, yeah.
I don't
Because
know.
I'm paranoid when it comes to my hair now that it grows so slowly.
Hmm.
Mm.
Well, you can go to a beautician and tell them you only want this much cut off. You say, I only want 2 inches cut off, just two. And, they are, if you're specific on how much you want cut off, that's what they'll do. You don't tell them you want the split ends trimmed. You just say, I want 2 inches cut off. Because trimming it, of course, means trimming off all the split ends. So it may have been that the beautician, when you told her to trim it, realized how bad the split ends were. So she cut it until the split ends were all gone.
As could be, because it had been a few years
Hmm.
since it had been cut the
I
last
mean, it
time.
it doesn't look like there's a huge amount of split ends on it because you don't braid it, you leave it loose.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, um Whereas I braid my hair all the time, so I've got a lot of split ends from that.
Okay.
Um so you can see how thick it gets about 2-3 inches just below your shoulders. It looks fine, but from your shoulders down is where the splits are.
Yeah, give you an idea of what I'm dealing with. As I say, the last haircut I had was 2009. The one before that was 1991.
Mm,
Yeah, I mean, when
goodness.
I let my hair grow, I let it grow. Um,
Hmm.
I decided that I would grow my hair out when I broke my ankle and see how it looked 6 weeks later when the cast came off, and I liked it. And
Hmm.
that's when I grew a facial, grew the beard as well, and I kept that beard for oh Christ. When I began my transition is when I took the facial hair off.
Mm.
So it was there from about the about 90 91 to about 2010.
Mm.
Yeah, 2009, 2010, something like that. Oh my, oh my, oh my. Oh boy, here comes the shilling. Yay! Thank you, Amiga Nuts. You are such a sweetie. Oh my. But why don't we have a look, if we don't mind at all, at the thumbnail on the way in here? Um, I was on Twitter. What was it, yesterday or the day before? And was looking at this, that, and the other, and I came across some stuff. And okay, let's hope that I have set this up right and have not lost the audio. We're going to see how this works here. I hope everybody can, I hope everybody can hear what's going on. Joe Biden. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. If anything's going to go wrong, this is the live stream where it's going to do it. Um, yeah, but Biden had done one of his campaign tweets and everything else, And then we got, okay, this guy Ryan Knight. I guess he's somewhat well known. Said, I firmly believe that you will not accomplish anything if you keep peddling these platitudes and resisting the fundamental change we need to heal our people, save our planet, move our nation forward. That fundamental change includes Medicare for All, Green New Deal, and UBI. The comment right below it is, why do you continue to support Trump's reelection? Aha! Yeah, okay. Ooh, that's coming. That's coming. Oh, my word, a little bit later. Yeah, I came across another little something going on here. We're going to switch over. You people who can see this stuff, um, disregard the middle tweet for now. It's the two on the top and the bottom. You have, y'all can't get over the fact that between two old white men, the Democratic electorate preferred the less radical one. And while they like some of what he said, they're not comfortable enough with the prospect of an elderly Jewish man as president to elect him. Okay, so it's exactly what you said, Kate. They preferred the quote less radical one. They don't want the progressive thing going on here. And the other one, the bottom thing, Bernie Sanders is not the be all and end all of all candidates. That's redundant. You'll have to go younger and better at communicating on a national level. And one more thing. The country will not make a sharp turn left no matter how much you wanted to. You'll have to learn to be patient. Where have I heard, that stuff before? Where have I heard people talking about, okay, wait a minute. Okay, looks like Kate dropped off. So we're going to have to see wait a minute, what's going on here? I'm not sure what's going on. You're still here because you looked like you were muted for a minute there. Ah, to prato que sa to l'equipine. So we just have to wait for Kate to get back. Yeah, okay. Let me see what's going on over here because, yeah, Kate fell off the line. Messages. Hopefully. But yeah, this was exactly the stuff she's been talking about, the stuff that we've been talking about. Where am I here? I want to make sure that I've got this. Yeah, the country will not make a sharp turn left. You've got to be patient. And as she said so many times, we don't have the time for that.
We don't at this point.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, we're on a mountain road, and it curves around the mountain to the right. And if we don't make that left, and if we don't
oh,
head for the left, we're going to go off we're going to go off the
edge.
road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
And,
think I
and
said it
at
backwards,
this,
but you get the point, I hope.
yeah, at this point, if they do not, if Trump gets reelected, God knows that many states have said if he gets reelected, we are seceding. And it will not be a United States anymore. It will be 3 countries on one continent
At least.
or more.
Yeah,
Or
I've
more.
heard up
Right.
to I've heard up to 6.
And I mean, oh my God, the sheer volume of states going, I don't know if you've heard how things have gone in Florida recently, because I haven't been
Um,
on, but in the month that we have been reopened, since we opened in mid-April, I guess it was late April or mid-May.
okay.
Um, We have our cases in Crystal River, which only had 100. We had 100 and no, we had 96 cases of COVID-19 in Crystal River
Okay.
before we
Okay.
opened. We were under 100. We are now at 224.
And that's just you.
And that's just in Crystal River. And they're saying, oh, it's just number of cases being tested. No, it's not the number of cases being tested. In Tampa, there are anywhere from 1,000 to 3,000 new cases
Yeah.
every single day.
I recently saw from what is it, Emperor Zaphod the Zeroth on Twitter that the day he posted this, there were 9,600 cases that day. Now, 9,600 is pretty damn close to the population of the township in which I live.
Yeah.
Hi, honey.
So my computer decided that right then was the perfect time to reboot without my consent.
Oh,
I don't know what the fuck's up with this computer, but I need to get it looked at.
Oh,
Have
my.
you checked to see if you have a bunch of dust and dirt in it?
Oh, yes. What do you think this is for?
Okay.
Well, it's for
Plus,
Xander.
I have an application called Core Temp that checks your computer's temperature, and it's nowhere near reboot levels.
Yeah, mine with running a game in the background is at 35 degrees Celsius on my graphics card, and my CPU is not registering a temperature.
Yeah, as it turns out, I mean, just when you fell off, Kate, the tweets were confirming exactly what you've been saying for I don't know how the hell long here. That the less radical candidate is, or as they call it, less radical and less progressive, is the one that center right America wants, and that the country's not going to take that sharp left turn no matter how much we want it to, even if by not taking that left turn we go off the road on down the mountainside.
See, the problem is I don't even agree with that, though. Is that I think that is the axioms by which the people, like the politicians, live. That's the assumption that they make about the electorate. But I don't think that's actually where the American people really are.
Okay, now I'm just curious because I'm totally open-minded on this one. What leads you to think that? Because what I'm looking at are the people that are getting the vote totals in the primary elections
the problem
now.
Is that doesn't tell you anything really about where the country is, because you get a lot of people who just plain don't vote. And there's a lot of reasons for that. For one thing, young people tend to not vote, no matter, even the ones who are super, super passionate about this, that, or the other thing, they tend to just not get their asses out to vote. Another thing is that older people tend to insist upon voting, never don't vote, and they tend to skew conservative.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
So the vote total doesn't tell you like how the country actually feels. It only tells you about the people who are willing to put in the effort to get out to the ballot box. And another thing, of course, is that some people have been turned away from voting locations after standing out there for 6-7 hours. There's a lot of reports of places where they've deliberately withheld voting machines and deliberately closed voting locations. So there's that. Then, I mean, a lot of it is probably just that people out there go, none of these candidates inspire me whatsoever. And then like you look at a lot of the issues people care about or say they care about, and most of them are very progressive issues. But then you ask them, who are you going to vote for? And they go, well, I'm going to vote for this guy like Biden, who tends to be center right. And so it's like, okay, so you're voting for a person, not for personality or not for policies.
Yeah, you're voting for.
Yet you say that your policies are nothing like those of the person. What the fuck's up? And that's the thing, is a lot of people are just looking at the people involved. That's why when I tell people I'm not voting against Trump, I'm voting for progressive policies, it just seems to completely boggle them. They don't get it. That maybe I don't care about party loyalty, about like an individual, that kind of thing. I'm like, look, I want to vote for issues here. And they just don't understand how someone can be like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to go somewhere and my left right wheel fell off, so I'm not sure how many pancakes it would take to fill the Empire State Building. Anyway,
New Zealand.
okay. Speaking of, yes, we did not go through our usual introductions. I have to introduce you as the Reverend Lady Catherine
No,
the
you got that backward. Lady the Reverend.
Lady the Reverend Catherine the Marginally Acceptable, right?
Yes. Yeah, for those who don't know, why the hell aren't you subscribed to my channel and watching all of my videos?
I'd like to know that.
Like I bought a noble title from the Principality of Sealand, so now you must all refer to me as Milady. And the Reverend part is a bunch of years ago, I got myself ordained in the Universal Life Church because I thought it'd be funny to be an ordained atheist.
Oh my, oh my. There are a
So
couple
yes,
of those
Your Ladyship,
out
the Reverend Catherine the Marginally Acceptable of House.
I love the marginally acceptable. Yes, that really works
Well,
out.
I mean, Catherine the Great was already taken. What else was I supposed to do? Catherine the Even Better?
There you
Even
go.
greater?
And as you said in the video, Kate the Great just, sounds like something a third grader would come up with.
It sounds like a Beverly Cleary novel. I mean, it sounds like you got Ramona the Brave and her best friend Kate the Great.
No, what you need to do is run you for office. No, I know you don't want to do that, but and I don't blame you either.
I mean, that's the thing. I would love to be the power behind the throne. I just don't think I would make a good figurehead.
You got a great head as far as I'm concerned. Come on.
You know what I mean.
Oh, for the love of St. Good. So I don't know what we're going to do. I really do not know what we're going to do, what we can do. I'm going to kind of go out on a limb here. I'm not sure if the problems we have can be solved by an election.
I don't know.
Well, that's the problem, isn't it? Is the establishment wants to stay in power, so they inevitably stack the rules against change.
Oh, well, that too, yeah. I think we saw some of that in 2016. I mean, I'm not going to say that that's the primary situation now, but I think in 2016 there may have been a little bit of funny business. Correct me if I'm wrong here. I'm thinking that more problem comes from the electorate now this year than did back then. I couldn't tell you.
Wait, rewind, from the electorate?
Yeah, in other words, it's not necessarily the DNC rigging the election against anybody who opposes Biden. Rather, it's the electorate turning to Biden over everybody else, even if it's over false information.
I thought we were talking about 2016 still, but okay.
No, in 2016, there may have been a case to be made for.
Oh, there was nothing
rigging.
but hanky-panky in 2016.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure that that's the case now. I'm thinking, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm thinking the electorate's doing it all for themselves.
Well, a lot of it is just Trump fear, Trump derangement syndrome. A lot of people are like, anything but Trump. And then when I try to pose the hypothetical idea of, okay, I've resurrected Hitler, he's running as a Democrat, you still going to vote anybody but Trump?
And
they
some
refuse to
said
answer.
yes.
They absolutely refuse to answer the question because it shows that they don't think literally anybody but Trump. But it also exposes the fact that they're willing to accept absolute garbage in the name of getting rid of greater garbage. That that long-term strategy seems to have completely escaped people. The fact that a lesser evil inevitably leads to a greater evil, it just, because they're so terrified of fucking Trump.
Yeah, there are some people I've talked to. There's one I can think of in particular who's, I might say, I'm not exactly enamored of Joe Biden. Oh, but you have to vote for Biden. Think of what Trump is going to do to us queers. And it's like, settle down. I didn't say that I was going to vote for Trump, did I?
Yeah, I don't like Biden, but I'm certainly not going to vote for Trump.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and of course, a vote for anyone but Biden is a vote for Trump. It's like, no, a vote for Trump is a vote for Trump. And if you're so fucking scared of Trump being elected because people aren't voting for Biden, maybe you should have thought of that before deciding that Bernie Sanders wouldn't be the nominee. Maybe you should have actually listened to people when they said Bernie or bust. Maybe you should have realized that we meant it. Maybe you should have learned the proper lesson from 2016. But they all figured, oh, well, the liberals, the progressives tried in 2016, and obviously it didn't work, so you got Trump. So we'll just do the same thing we've always done because you learned your lesson in 2016. Like, each side, the progressives and the centrists all thought the other side learned their lesson, and it didn't work that way, did it?
No, it did not.
No.
And what Purple has said over here, it could be eerily prophetic. He has said a long-term strategy cannot begin with abandoning the chance of having future elections. I understand that, but the way things are going with the stolid resistance to any form of reason, we may end up there. Consider, when we were in the green room talking about shit.
No. I'm sorry, Purple got that completely fucking wrong. No, it's not how will re-electing Trump teach the DNC a lesson. I said that 2016 should have taught the DNC a lesson.
Yes, I got that. Because were you here, Kate, when Mom Nato and I were talking about this? The Putin involvement and the killing off of the...
I wasn't around for it. Nope.
Okay, the bounties on the heads of American troops and a few other things going on. It smells like a coup d'etat, kids. It really does.
Yes.
What, in Russia or here?
Here.
I don't know what you mean.
Here.
You've skipped a bunch of steps in this.
I know.
Putin paid bounties to Afghanistans who killed Americans troops in 2019. There's proof that the bounties have been paid out. Trump was told in March about this and given a menu list of possible actions that could be done against Russia. Trump chose to do nothing. On the 1st of June, Trump called Putin, had a nice friendly conversation with him, and after he got off the phone with Putin, turned around and told everybody, hey, we should invite Russia back into the G7, which used to be the G8 before Russia was kicked out for invading Crimea.
Okay, right now there's way too much minute detail. Give me the macro here. Where's the coup d'etat?
Here in the U.S., I detect the sulfurous aroma of the so-called president selling out to a hostile foreign power. That's what I'm looking for.
Okay, maybe we have different ideas of what a coup d'etat is, but that doesn't sound like one.
Well, these are some actions that are starting to lead me to believe that he's trying to take over, basically.
Take over how?
Be the autocrat of the United States.
Okay,
Yeah,
how is this going to do that?
with help from a foreign power, he may or may not be looking to see a threat from outside that would solidify his position.
Yeah, that shit's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. Ooh, Russia helped me assassinate a few people. Whoop it. It doesn't seem like this leads to a coup d'etat. It seems like there's a missing bunch of steps in your logic here.
Okay, okay. It could well be. I mean, I could be full of shit. It wouldn't be the first time, and
And
it won't be the last.
and Purple, you've still misunderstood. Okay, because no one said anything about re-electing Trump now being a lesson to the DNC. I said that in 2016, the DNC and the progressives thought that the other side had learned their lesson from Hillary's defeat. It has nothing to do with now, except for the fact that both sides were like, well, obviously everyone should be coming to us because last time, look at the disaster. And the disaster was Hillary's not progressive enough, according to the progressives. Whereas, according to the DNC, the lesson is, well, see what happens when you try to run a progressive candidate? It doesn't work, obviously. And it's like, so each time thought that in 2020, that we'd either go back to normal or go to more progressive. Each side thought that the other side had learned what not to do. And it didn't work out because if you have two people or two sides expecting the other side to change, it's not going to happen. Like there will be no change at all. So no, I didn't say anything at all about re-electing Trump teaching anybody a lesson. That's not even close to the point.
Where am I hearing dogs barking from?
Not here.
There's people in my complex have
okay.
dogs, and also there's like a dog kennel, I guess, not too far from here. So sometimes you hear them distantly too.
Okay. Well, I don't normally hear the distantly ones. I just all of a sudden there was dog barking, and it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and
Because my dog's being quiet and asleep.
Okay. I can't help thinking that Purple here is taking like the minute side peripheral details of what I'm saying and going off on those instead of actually seeing the point.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, the other thing that I have on my mind, I mean, we're starting to see unrest.
Oh,
And,
yes.
I mean, is this going to continue unless it is somehow quelled by doing rational and reasonable things?
I don't know that they can be rational or reasonable.
Yes, the problem is that the people in DC are in a bubble where they don't understand what's going on the street. They don't understand what it's like to not be a gajillionaire who's been in office for decades.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, well, like reaching the politicians is not something we're going to do. We can only replace them, but they've rigged the rules to make sure they can't be replaced.
And
so, at that point, what we have is a broken system.
Well, this is why I said earlier, I have to wonder whether this breakage of the system is something that even can be addressed with an election. I don't want to say what I'm thinking. I think you know what I'm thinking.
And, okay, back to what Purple says. Look, we don't have to vote for Biden. If we all collectively waste our votes on a third-party candidate, guess what happens?
The third-party candidate wins.
There you go. So, I mean, voting for Biden is not our only option for getting rid of Trump. Also, getting rid of Trump should not be our priority. Getting the country to start moving left should be our priority. You know what happens if we elect Biden? We get the same old crap that we've had from Bill Clinton, from Obama, where, like I posted that graphic of the ratchet effect. They don't move us further left. At most, they maintain the status quo. And when the status quo sucks complete and utter ass, it, like people are going to go, well, this didn't work out. We need change. That's how we got Trump. A lot of former Obama voters were duped into voting for Trump because he had a populist message. He was lying, but he tried to
Mm-mm-mm.
appeal to people on a populist level. And so a lot of people voted for him just because they wanted to break up the status quo. So now we got status quo Joe, who's not going to do jack shit for anybody, who's going to try to bring back normalcy. It's going to lead to a much worse Trump. If we don't start making people's lives measurably better, we will keep getting Trump, lesser evil, worse evil, lesser evil, worse evil, lesser evil. That cycle will never be broken until we get someone who genuinely tries to improve people's lives. So it's not going to work to elect Biden. It's just going to make things worse further down the road.
And yet, that worse further down the road, well, not exactly the way you're speaking of it, but a different sort of worse down the road is the kind of thing I'm thinking of.
Okay,
Because we've already had what's gone on in Minnesota, in Seattle, in shall I keep the list going because I can't
okay,
remember all the names. But
the
I mean,
the issue
how much more of that are we going to end up getting?
the issue comes in that regardless of what the popular vote, we saw this with Hillary, regardless of what the popular vote is, the electoral college is what uh, creates the election. And they proved last election that the electoral college is going to go with whoever they want. They're not going to go with the popular vote because Hillary won the popular vote by 3 million votes
Well, no,
and
no.
she lost the
Okay,
election.
here's the problem with that logic, though. The electoral college went the way they were designed to go because the electors of the individual states go with the majorities of those individual states. You don't go with a global popular vote. You need to change a whole lot in order to do that.
Yeah.
So the EC actually functioned as intended. A lot of us wanted that the electors should defect, and they did not. What
Well,
would
it was
happen this time around, I don't know.
Well, honestly, I don't think that the electoral college was necessarily the problem. The problem was during the nomination process, and that was super delegates.
Oh
Without
yeah,
super
well that
delegates,
too.
we'd have President Bernie right now,
Yeah.
right? So, like I say, they keep rigging the system.
Yeah.
That's the thing, and we need to make that stop. Now, again, to what Purple said here, with the Democrats in charge, we have a small chance of improvement. No, we don't, and it certainly won't be a net positive. I mean, Biden will do a lot of ugly crap that will make things worse, plus a few little sops to the public. He's never going to give us what we actually need. It's not going to happen. I mean, we cannot trust Biden to give a shit about the people. We just can't.
Right, absolutely. I am with you. Yeah. Um, and of course, what's on my mind, I keep going back to this, I know, is I have a feeling 2020 may be the last election year, if we have an election this year at all. Because remember, um, the orange one put his man in charge of the USPS. And there are some people thinking that that may be a move to fuck with mail-in ballots. I'm not sure how
Oh,
that would
wait a minute.
work.
No, courts decided that mail-in ballots have to happen despite what Trump wanted.
Yep.
Yeah, what I'm thinking though is what some people are thinking is that this person is going to torpedo the entire mail system to prevent the transmission of the ballots.
Huh.
I don't know about that. I think with the current situation, I'm hoping they're smart enough to put some sort of guard on where the ballots come in.
I mean, I would
so
hope
that
because
they can't
it's
fucked
you know
with.
what I'm hearing sounds rather drastic, and I know people go drastic when, I mean, look at me, you know, when they start fearing, they start getting paranoid. No, the
Hmm.
worst is going to happen and everything else. It has been
Well,
floated out there.
with all of the issues we've had with elections recently, between ballot problems, electronic transmission problems. I mean, oh my God. But at this point, what mail in ballots are the safest option at this point
Yeah,
for
they are.
some places.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't even know if Florida is going to have election stations.
Oh,
We haven't heard anything.
speaking of ballots, while we're on that subject, has anyone heard anything about how Kentucky has gone?
Mm-mm.
You know, with that whole bullshit about reducing the number of polling places in Louisville to one, and where else is it?
What?
Yes,
Louisville's huge. You cannot give them only one fucking place to vote.
that's what they did,
Well, apparently you can.
and that's not the only
Uh,
place. I think at least one more place that happened. I mean, they what was the original number of polling places? Something over 6,000, and they cut it down to
yeah.
200.
Holy shit.
Yeah, there you go. You see, you can do a lot of messing around with shit like that. This is where you need the mail-in ballots if they are handled
Yeah.
appropriately, if they are handled correctly, if they're not fucked with.
Are they doing the reduction because of fearing that people will get sick? I can
No.
guarantee
No.
you only having one ballot place or one place to vote is just like insane because you're going to have people not able to vote because of the
Aha!
amount of people
Ding, ding,
trying to
ding, ding,
vote.
ding, ding,
I
ding,
know.
ding, because this reduction is happening in primarily Democratic districts.
Hmm. And a lot of it is happening in like districts mostly populated by people of color as well.
That too. Yes,
Mhm.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, take a look at this right here, this image. A look back at all the times Democrats ran a safe moderate. Yeah, look how that went. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, honestly, if we didn't have Trump mishandling the pandemic the way he has, I suspect we'd be looking at another Trump presidency, largely because of this shit. You run a safe moderate and you end up not actually electing somebody.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's just how this works. Is like the right wing tends to run the most rabid and screaming right winger ever. And the Democrats are like, I don't know, let's run a centrist because we got to try to appeal to swing voters, leaving out a huge swath of the electorate that desperately wants like progressive liberal left wing policies who want to see that Overton window shoved left in ways that the GOP will shove it right. I mean, you know, baby steps doesn't work. Going from the bottom up doesn't work. It just doesn't. You have to do it from the top down. Man, a lot of people say do it the other way. It doesn't work. So, I mean, we need someone who is going to really fight for the people, and that's not Biden.
Right. Absolutely. Uncle Joe just isn't going to do it, and then I'll say it again. If it turns out that the outcome of an election is declared such that the orange one is the winner, first of all, a lot of people are going to suspect foul play, and they won't necessarily be wrong. And a lot of other people will just be so crazed at the result that they'll finally snap, and it won't be pretty.
No.
Oh, there are like I thought for a while it was just the West Coast, but I'm starting to see secessionist movements in the East Coast.
Oh
Like
yeah.
New England wants to break away now.
Hmm.
And I think that if Trump is reelected, we are going to see this country fracture big time.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And
There's
I'm
going to
not
be,
sure it won't happen under Biden either.
I don't know, but I've seen at least 6 separate countries form
Yes.
especially if Trump wins.
Yeah.
Well, to what Amiga Nuts just said, if Biden's saying he'd be open to a Republican VP, what that means is that he wants to reach across the aisle. He's doing what Obama did, where Obama said, "Okay, I'm willing to compromise with the right wing. I'm willing to compromise with Republicans to meet them in the middle." The problem was he would start with the middle and get compromised down to the right rather than
Hmm.
like shooting for the moon and then haggling down to the center. And Biden's going to do the same thing, and saying that he's open to a Republican VP just proves it.
Yeah, I mean, that is, how can he say this with everything the Republicans have done? You've got to be a special kind of stupid to not see what the Republicans have been up to for the last, not 3 years, not 4 years, the last, what,
20,
15,
30
20?
years.
40 at least. I mean, I'm sure it started before Reagan.
I was going to say, I mean, we can trace it back to at least Reagan, if not back to Nixon. Yeah. Um, I mean, if you really want a hard and fast date, let's go with the Tea Party, which formed in what, 2012, I think.
Okay, but it started at least around Reagan.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Possibly
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Kennedy.
Absolutely. No, you saw the way things
I
were
think
starting to
this
go.
started when Kennedy got shot.
Well, maybe. I think
I
it
don't know.
probably, I don't know, maybe. So, but I mean, the point is that we cannot elect someone like Joe Biden and expect things to get better. Plus, we don't have time for a Joe Biden or a Trump presidency. We don't. The planet
Right.
is fucked.
Oh
The planet
yes.
is completely fucked. There is a very good chance that there will not be a human race in 2100.
Well,
There's a
what's
very good chance of that just because of the way we're fucking the environment. And you get status quo Joe who's not going to do a damn thing to help. Or if he does, it will be a token gesture. You know, it'll be a band aid over a wound that needs 20 stitches. So we need a rabid and screaming lefty who is going to actually do what's necessary just to fucking keep us alive.
Well, I don't know with some of the numbers I've been seeing, especially with some of the Arctic numbers that have come up
Mm.
recently. I don't know if we are going to have an Earth that is hospitable to humans in 2025.
Yeah, well, there's that too. But I mean, the point is that right now, by going with the safe option, with the electable candidate, we are essentially just dooming ourselves.
Oh yeah,
So it's not going to happen. It's just that people are being so stupid right now. They just are. They're like they're not reacting with their rational brain. They're reacting with the lizard brain right now, and it's going to doom us all. I mean, honestly, feeling this helpless when surrounded by fucktards is one of the ways that revolutions start. Is people feel powerless to do what they know is necessary, and everyone around them is being like they're reacting to their emotions more than anything else. That's when people start saying, "I got to do something."
yeah,
Now, I'm not the sort to do something, but someone out there is probably planning on doing something. And I don't know what. It could be trying to organize a revolution. It could be trying to organize a march. It could be picking up a fucking sniper rifle. I don't know. But there's someone out there who is pissed off and feeling powerless and is going to attempt something.
yeah. And depending on what is attempted, it could get even worse than it already is. And this is You know, somebody picks up that sniper rifle, you're very likely going to run into more trouble, not less.
Well, I mean, you saw that thing in the alt-right playbook about how to radicalize a normie,
Oh yeah,
right?
oh yeah.
Well, I think that's the kind of thing that we're looking at before much longer is recruiting that lone wolf.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure what will happen if that person manages to succeed. And I'm not sure if it would be good or bad in the end.
Yeah, I don't know. All I can say is I'm kind of happy that I'm at the point in life where I hopefully won't see that much of it.
You know, you keep saying that.
I keep meaning that.
I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to see. Honestly, it'd be more interesting to see it when we're not in the middle of a pandemic. You know, I mean, if we weren't in lockdown, I would have gone to some of those protests, but we are. So I was going to maintain my social distancing rather than go out and protest.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be a lot more interesting to see it if we didn't have to social distance, because I could be there. I could record it. I could put it on YouTube. I could talk to people about it. I could wave a placard. I don't know. But I like being alive too much to go out to a protest right now.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, like I say it flippantly, but I mean it. When I say that being alive is one of my favorite things, I'm not just joking around here.
Okay, I can buy that. Yeah.
You know, and there's that meme I've shown you before, the well, not a meme, it's more of a comic of like the day after I die, someone will invent some really cool thing and I'll totally miss out. And how much does that suck? You know, like I know you're gonna say, well, it won't suck for you because you'll be dead. But thinking about it now, about that being a possibility, that stinks. And it's part of why I'm not ready to give up on life. Not yet.
Mm. Yeah, it's I don't know. I lost my train of thought here, which is what do you? It
Well,
went over the mountainside.
Well, sometimes I wonder, like, what would it be like to be one of those rich ass people who builds themselves a bunker? You know, so like, sure, the human race is doomed, but I'm going to live out the rest of my natural life in a dome or in a fallout shelter or whatever it is. I have plenty of food and water, so all you fuckers can die, and I'm gonna leave you to it. You know, what is that like?
Now you got me thinking here about doing some writing, and this is something I'm not all that good at. What is it like for the person who goes into the bunker and then comes out to wasteland? Which is essentially what will happen if somebody goes into the bunker and has all their nice food and everything else, and you come out, everybody's killed themselves off, and now what do you do?
Well, you know, it'd be so much worse in a way. Imagine if you climb out of the bunker and you discover that civilization recovered and everyone's living like the Jetsons, and realizing that you were hiding away for nothing. How much would that suck?
I don't know. I suppose that wouldn't be quite as bad as hiding away and coming out to something horrible.
Well, but I'd expect the something horrible. You know, I'd be prepared for that. But if I came out of there and I was like discovering, oh yeah, 2 months after you got into your bunker, everything got better. We found a way to like terraform the earth back to something healthy, and we developed a vaccine for the virus. And then someone came out with those flying cars and the moving walkways and the meal that comes in a pill and all that stuff, you know, and you spent how many years in your bunker not getting to participate? Look at how much time was wasted, and all because of your petty little fears. I think that would be so much worse than getting out there and going, yeah, just like I suspected. I knew this was coming. You know, then at least it'd be like less of a disappointment in a way. I'd be kicking myself less for making the mistake of hiding. You know what I mean?
Okay, I get where you're coming from. Yeah, you were there for the journey as well as the destination.
Yeah,
The guy who's
and I
hiding
mean,
away and comes out and finds that everything's great and everything. He sees the destination, but he didn't get to take the journey.
well, but I mean, imagine if the journey was over like that and they missed a huge part of the destination, but worse, they can't get that time back.
Mm-hmm.
It's like imagine if you were imprisoned for something you didn't do. And then they finally figure out, oh, you're innocent all along. So we're releasing you after 35 years that you'll never get back. And sure, they
It's
give people a
happened.
couple million or
Yep.
whatever when they're released like that. But imagine how much that would suck, realizing that you lost that much of the one life you're going to get. Like that's why I think it'd be so much worse to discover that the world got better while you hid in your bunker for several years. You know, is because you're not getting that back. All that wasted time.
Mm-hmm. And of course,
It's it
as Purple says here, come out to find that, yeah, all the intelligent people left, and all you got are MAGA idiots out here.
basically the plot of Idiocracy.
All right, guys, I've got to go. I
All
have to
right.
call my
Oh,
mother
wow.
and chat with her.
What are you going to call her?
Oh, I don't know. Crazy.
Okay.
So I'll talk to y'all later. I'll see you on Tuesday. Thank you
Yeah,
so
hopefully I will not be
much.
screaming in pain on Tuesday. So.
Yeah. So, all right. Bye bye, guys.
Take care,
Have a
honey.
good day.
Later. But yeah, so I mean, it's kind of like there was this image that's been going around of, like, man, I guess she was 23 or something, and she was like a lesbian hanged by the Nazis or something. And I'm sitting there thinking, 23, you've got so much ahead of you that's never going to happen anymore because you're being hanged at this young age.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like I think about soldiers who go to war and get killed and how little time they have. They've been cheated out of probably about 60 years of life if they die in war at that age.
Yep.
And there was like an episode of ER that I was watching on, I think it was Netflix, I'm not sure, where there was like Ewan McGregor, a really young Ewan McGregor, plays this guy who like holds up a convenience store with one of his friends, and like one of the doctors is trapped in the convenience store with him, and like he manages to get out of the store and he's trying to run away, and one of the cops shoots him in the back and he dies. And he was like, again, about 23 years old. And I was just sitting there thinking, man, that sucks so hard to miss out on that much time. I couldn't do it. I mean, in many ways, I hate the idea of mortality. It stinks just because there's so much I won't get to do.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. And I guess one way I look at it, and I take the old lady's look at it, where I've said it before, I've had a pretty good run. I mean, not the best, not sellouts every night, but it was a pretty good run. Maybe it's time to bring the curtain down and let a new show open. So, not that I'm maybe
What
missing
show?
some. In other words, life. Somebody else.
But
Somebody
it won't
else's
be
life.
you.
Right. Yeah, it's
But why
maybe
is
it's
that
time
a
to
good
make room
thing
for
to
somebody.
do?
Maybe it's time to make room for somebody else. Get my old,
Well, why though?
because
Why?
I've already had mine in a sense.
But have you? I mean, you've had stuff, but have you really? I mean, I can't imagine there being something that I haven't, or some like I can't imagine there not being something I haven't done yet. Like if I were to acquire that hyperspace capable starship I want so bad, there's a whole universe out there to still see. It's really hard for me to picture. Oh well, I've done my time. I put in my 20, time to retire. I can't picture that.
Oh my! I guess maybe I'm old and jaded. That's part of it.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm jaded about Earth. I would give a left body part to leave Earth. But there's a whole universe out there to see.
That would be nice if I could. Just a little Miss Practical here is getting in the way, you know.
See, okay, there's a TV show that I watched. It's called The Good Place, and man, the ending dealt with this sort of thing, but I don't know if I want to discuss it because spoilers.
I
You
think
know, I
you've
mean,
talked about it a little bit. Is it something about the wrong person ended up in the good place or something?
yes, but
Yeah, you. Yeah.
that's not the part of it that bugged me though. Um, But I mean, it's this whole idea of, okay, I'm ready to stop existing. The only way I can think of being ready to stop existing is at the heat death of the universe. I don't think I will be ready ever until that happens. There will always be something I didn't see, didn't do, didn't experience. There will always be something.
Okay.
So
I'm opening another window here. Ah,
I don't know.
I don't know if I remember this film or not.
What
Um,
film?
there's a film that Shadow Kitty mentioned. This movie with Harry Belafonte from 1959 dealt with that theme. Now, what
What's the
is
name?
that
Oh, I
theme?
want a title.
The title is The World, the Flesh, and the Devil.
I've never heard of it.
A minor
I also didn't
trapped.
know Harry Belafonte was ever in movies. I thought he was just a singer.
Okay, a miner trapped in a cave-in resurfaces, and upon discovering mankind is being wiped out in a nuclear holocaust, sets out to find other survivors.
Yeah. I wonder about that too. Because I remember, and I don't even know if this is realistic or if it's just part of the story and they made it up completely. But there's this show called The Last Man on Earth, which is an inaccurate title because there's lots of other people. But basically, humanity was wiped out by a disease, and only a few people were immune, and they all start finding each other and banding together. But around about like I think it was the very last season, they realize that nuclear power plants are starting to fail and are flooding the world with radiation. And they have to find a way to get away from it, find a safe spot on the earth where, they can live without the fear of like cancer and all that stuff from the radiation, right? And so I'm sitting here thinking if the world was nuked and you managed to survive it, unless you have a Geiger counter, you'll never know whether you're walking into a radioactive area. Not until it starts actually hurting you, which could take a while.
Yeah, and you're basically skirting the edges of the plot of On the Beach.
I've never seen that one.
Okay, post-apocalyptic.
Oh, I'm aware of it. I've just never sat
Okay,
down and
okay.
watched it.
It's worth a watch. It definitely is. Um,
Hmm.
especially that final scene. And
Okay.
yeah, it's. I'll leave that alone for those who don't know about it because that's a big spoiler right there. Um, but yeah, you're going into the lives of the various people and what they're going through in that period as they discover. Yeah, it's over. It's coming.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I mean, I've heard things about like even if you survive, even if you manage to find a radiation free zone, that it's really easy to say die of well, diarrhea, actually, of all things.
Mm-hmm.
And finding water, finding food. It's not going to be as cool as it looks in the movies, damn it.
Right. Oh, absolutely. Especially the way our technology is, the way our society is, that sort of thing. Without the incredible support system that we've got going, our food, for example, can barely survive. I mean, we have to intervene to we humans have to intervene to pollinate corn, for fuck's sake.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Although, I mean, I've always wondered about that in some of these post-apocalypse stories, especially if it was like a virus that wiped everyone out and not nukes. Like, wouldn't there be all of these like gardens everywhere that are just full of food? I mean, unless the disease wiped those out too, the whole idea of, oh my gosh, I'm hungry shouldn't even be a thing.
for a season.
Well, no, I mean even completely. I mean most crops will just send seeds out, won't they?
I'm not so sure. I mean, I'd need someone who knows more than I do to really weigh in on it. I suspect some would, but that second generation and on might be nowhere near as nutritious, for example, as the stuff that
Well,
we
that
have
wasn't the
now.
question. The question was whether it's available.
Okay, yeah, okay.
I mean, because what I'm picturing is, you've got what, like 8 people who manage to find each other and they're hungry and they want food and they just wander to a cornfield somewhere and there will be more than enough food there for all of them. It may not be enough nutrition, but they'll be able to stem the hunger pangs if they just find a farm somewhere. Or hell, start one.
Well, there's the thing about starting the farm. You have to know kind of what you're doing. I mean, you may be able
I'm
to.
not sure you
I'm
do.
trying to remember who the heck was it? Was it Seth? Was it Seth Andrews that did a podcast on this at one point? What do you do if
Mm.
you're all that's left? I mean, this would have been a number of years ago. Um, yeah, it's not that first year that worries me. It's the second and third and fourth years.
Well, I still don't see why that would be a problem. I mean, as long as seeds are getting into the ground somehow, which most plants manage without being cultivated, where's the problem? I'm not seeing it.
Well, a lot of them, for example, are hybridized, so you don't get out what you put. You would not that second year. You would not have squash as we know it this year.
So, if it's
Uh,
edible,
yeah, and is it edible? That sort of thing. Would it revert to a form like? Okay, if would it revert in a way as if bananas reverted back to plantains, where
okay, but I mean, like, how long do you think that would take? Do you really think it would be the next generation that would be that mutated?
I don't know. I don't know.
I doubt that so severely. I think it would take multiple decades, if not centuries, before it starts being recognizably different. I mean, evolution is a slow process.
But this is now this is artificial selection, mind you. Like marigolds, you start to see dehybridization that next year if you allow natural pollination. I believe many
But
squashes will dehybridize that next year.
really?
I
Well,
think.
but I mean, here's the thing though. I mean, I don't even eat squash in the first place. I'm talking find some apple trees, find some corn, find some potatoes. I mean, that stuff's gonna still be pretty much what you expect, I'm sure.
Yeah, that one I don't know. I don't know exactly how the numbers would go on that one. I know that you'd have to worry about tent worms in the apple trees. Um,
Well, yeah,
one
but I
of
mean,
the father of one of
point
my
being is that
exes.
food will be around. There will be something to find to consume. And I'm sure there will be something healthy to find and consume, even if you're not necessarily sure whether that describes it, you know?
Mm. Now the vegans will probably have a hell of a time.
Mm. But that was one thing
Sorry,
that they dealt
Alex.
with.
Say what?
That was one of the things they dealt with in The Last Man on Earth. Is sorry, I lost my train of thought here. Oh, right. The disease that wiped out humanity also wiped out most of the animals, and so it's like super remarkable at one point when they found a cow.
Oh my. Okay.
So like I mean, for a good long time they hadn't had milk for cereal. And I mean, of course, all the cereal survived because it's like packaged and vacuum sealed and all that stuff. Have you looked at the expiration date on some of our food? Some of it goes out years, years.
I believe the box of Life cereal I have atop the defriginator is good until sometime in mid 2021.
Something like
I could
that.
go there and look at it to be sure, but I think it was at least a year from the time I purchased it. Yeah.
And, I mean, there's going to be how many Twinkies left?
Oh God.
Although actually, I did see an article a while back that said, as much as the legend is there, Twinkies don't last as long as you think. But I mean, hell, wander onto a military base and find all those MREs.
Oh yeah. I've seen some films where people opened C rations and K rations, and in some cases actually succeeded in consuming them without ill effect.
Well, and I mean, those things are designed to last too.
Mm-hmm. I mean, when you're talking C rations, K rations, you're talking you're talking World War II. MREs are relatively recent developments.
Well, let's see here. How long does an MRE last? 5 years, it says.
Oh, that's what I was going to guess.
The average MRE shelf life lasts 5 years in 75 degrees Fahrenheit. If kept in cooler conditions, they can last well over 10 years and still be safe to eat. However, you should note that an MRE will only last about a month if stored in 120 degrees Fahrenheit. So the date on an MRE is the inspection date rather than an expiry date. Okay. But still, 10 fucking years.
You've got me
and
thinking.
Who stores an MRE at 120 degrees? I mean, maybe if you're out in the Arabian desert or something, but, like if you're going to go onto a military base, they're probably stored in a dark warehouse somewhere.
Probably underground, too, as far as that goes.
So, I mean, if you're one of the last people on Earth, you got options.
I mean, MREs aren't what I would consider gourmet, but they are, they will sustain you.
The 2 or 3 of them I've had were actually pretty tasty, but then my taste in food is I don't know. Well, let's put it this way. I like Doritos and Cheetos, and I like, why am I blanking on the name of it here? Velveeta.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Like mac and cheese and all that stuff. That's basically what an MRE is. It's like just calories out the ass. I mean, isn't there something like 3,000 calories in one MRE or something?
Something like that. It's over a day's calorie supply. Let me look. How many?
That can't be right. It says 168 calories. That can't be right. It says 1,250. That doesn't seem right either. Okay. I honestly would have thought it was about 3,000 calories.
Wait a minute. Okay, now the thing I looked up over here. Okay, type, supper bakes meal kits, quantity, 0.17 box, 85 grams.
Of what?
Of the MRE that you looked up.
I'm sorry, I'm lost. 85 grams is what?
Okay, type in how many calories in an MRE, and then on the Google page, I got, reading from top to bottom, left to right, 168 calories. Type, supper bakes meal kits. Quantity, 0.17 box. NLEA serving size, in parent 85 grams. So the serving size is 85 grams.
85 grams. Are you just saying it weighs 85 grams?
Yeah, that's what it appears to be. Yeah, 85 grams.
Okay, because I thought we were looking for calories here.
No, the calories I read off first. That was the 168 calories.
The 85 grams seems like a weird non sequitur, but okay.
Now, this is weird because just down a little bit lower. How many calories are in a standard MRE? Each MRE provides an average of 1,250 calories, 13% protein, 36% fat, 51% carbs, one third of the military recommended daily allowance of vitamins and minerals. Full
Mm-hmm.
day's worth of meals would consist of 3 MREs. So that would be 3,750 calories. So that's a little bit more than a pound of fat.
Yeah. Well, I mean, given how rigorous I'm given to understand military life can be, they probably burn more than that in a day.
Probably, yes.
Although, I mean, I've got a lot of military friends now, and they're always going off on like the difference between the Army and the Navy and the Marines and the Air Force. And it's always assumed like the Air Force are all those folks are going golfing and like sipping wine and all of this stuff. That it's like the cushy, um, um, why am I blanking? Country club version of the military.
Okay. I wouldn't necessarily call the Marines country club, but
No, 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 no. The Air Force, not the Marines.
oh, gotcha. Yeah, that may or may not be the perception. I know that as far as the Marines are concerned, at least back when they were after my ass, um, yeah, Marine, go out in the field, kill a rabbit, and eat it raw. But well, what are you gonna do? Yeah, a recruiting sergeant actually came to my house.
There's something I'm glad I never dealt with. Even if I felt the need to join the military, which I don't, I was raised by hippie peaceniks.
Okay, then, yeah.
So it was unlikely I'd ever even consider the military if they would have had me.
Yeah, I got lucky, and I turned 18 just after the official date upon which the draft was ended. I didn't even have to register.
But then don't they make people register anyway?
Now they do.
They didn't used to?
There was a period at which no registration was required. Yeah.
Hmm.
From 75 to I forget when. Um, let's see. No, I'll try keywords. No draft registration. Oh, here we go. No draft registration years. Selective service
It's
system.
1970, or yeah, 1973. I think. Wait, no, it says 1940. When did selective service become mandatory? It says 1940.
Yeah, for World War II. And then, okay, let's go. 1975 to 1980. On 29 March 1975, Gerald Ford, whose own son, Stephen Ford, had earlier failed to register for the draft as required, signed Proclamation 4360, terminating registration procedures under Military Selective Service Act, eliminating the registration requirement for all 18 to 25-year-old male citizens. On 2 July 1980, Jimmy Carter signed Proclamation 4771, retroactively reestablishing the selective service registration requirement for all 18 to 26-year-old male citizens born on or after 1960. As a result, only men born between 29 March 1957 and 31 December 1959 were completely exempt from the selective service registration, and I was one of those.
Well, that doesn't make any sense at all, though. I mean, they said, what was it? What was the year? Men born before when? Just the year.
For reinstatement?
I don't know, just what year was it that they said? You listed a year, men
Okay,
born before this or the other thing.
I'm going to read retroactively reestablishing the selective service registration requirement for all 18 to 26-year-old male citizens born on or after 1 January 1960.
Okay, 1960. That's the bit of information I was after.
Okay.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem with that, though, is that no men have been born ever.
Oh, right, right, right.
So, I wonder how can you challenge any decision made with ambiguous language like that? I seem to remember hearing something ambiguity in a contract skews towards the person who didn't write it. And if they said, oh, men born at this, that, or the other thing, and you go, yeah, nobody was born a man, like that didn't happen. I wonder if they'd go, you know what we mean, letter versus spirit. I wonder if you tried to take that to court, what would happen?
I don't know. That would be interesting. That would be interesting to pursue. Now, this may simply be an artifact of the author of this piece.
Well, maybe.
The author may have written it this way, but it wasn't. Yeah, but still, yes.
I mean, like if instead of men they said males, that would like completely eliminate the objection.
Right. Yeah. And there's the other interesting little thing going on over there, and they're still talking about it, and I don't know how much has been said. But yeah, even to this day, the registration requirement only applies to those who are phenotypically male.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, the girls.
Wait,
The girls.
wait. Rewind. Are you sure phenotypically? Not genotypically?
Okay, yeah, you may have a point there. Yeah, you may indeed have a point there.
Although, I mean, if they find someone who's like flamingly gay, although that's not an issue anymore, or someone who's like male to female trans, although that's starting to not be an issue anymore.
Again.
But I mean, let's pretend it was, I don't know, 1980 or so. And they say, oh, it's mandatory that you get drafted. And if you just say right off the top, yeah, kind of on the gay side, like what would happen? Because as I understand it, they used to actually throw gay soldiers into the stockade.
Right, right.
But what if you're not a soldier yet? What if you've been drafted and you go, yeah, kind of too gay to be in the military? I mean, maybe they'll try to put it to the test and say, here, snog this guy. I don't know. But
that would be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because I seem to remember, not that this is a good example using a Pauly Shore movie, but I seem to remember at one point he and his friend said that they didn't want to go to war, so they pretended to be gay. And their sergeant was like, okay, kiss. And they do the typical, like, cishet male thing of being really awkward about kissing another dude.
Okay.
And they're like, yeah, you're not gay. Go to war.
Okay. Well,
I want so I'm just picturing like, you go to your sergeant or whatever, the recruiter dude, and go, yeah, gay over here. And like, okay, here's our one unlocked up gay soldier. So I want you to snog him to prove that you're gay. I mean, obviously none of this is an issue anymore, but I'm sure there was a time where they had to have some sort of are you really gay test if you want out,
Mm-hmm. I don't know how much reality this was based on, but I do remember the whole MASH thing.
With Klinger?
Yeah, and he was trying to go through the core shrink to get, what is it? Is it chapter rated?
I don't know. It's not important.
Yeah, the whole thing was that he would the shrink said, okay, yeah, fine. we'll call you gay, we'll call you cross dressers or whatever, and you'll be dishonorably discharged and this and this and this and this. And he said, no, I'm not going to do that. And I wonder how much reality that was based on. Say again?
Did he say he's not going to do that?
My
I mean,
memory of the episode is that, but then again, my memory is
well,
feeble.
but I mean, it sounds like that's what he'd been trying for the entire time.
Well,
So
what?
what, did he want to be honorably discharged for
Yes, he did. He
cross-dressing?
did. He did not want the repercussions. Yes.
What are the repercussions of being like
According to the episode, they would include a dishonorable discharge and a medical diagnosis following him around, and a few other interesting things that I'd have to look up to be sure of, because I saw the episode. Oh, I don't know, maybe 38 years ago.
Hmm. I don't know. I tried really hard to get into that show and couldn't do it.
Okay, yeah, he was trying to get out based on being cuckoo.
Well, yeah, we knew that part. But one thing that I still think is kind of funny is that Disney bought whatever studio it was that put out MASH. And so people were saying, well, now that makes Klinger a Disney princess. And I'm like, oh, no, it doesn't. It makes him a Disney queen.
There you are.
Uh,
Oh, look.
oh, man. There was this wacky episode. Did you ever see the show The Mentalist?
No, I did not.
It's basically about a guy who is like a consultant for the police, and he used to be a confidence trickster. He used to work for a circus, and he would do the like reading of people. Oh, that person has like they bite their nails and they've got a wedding ring, but the wedding ring is tarnished in this way, and that tells me this, that, and the other thing about their background. So with that information, I can fleece them more easily because I can tell them things that seem to come from nowhere, like how could I possibly know that kind of thing, you know. And he quit that life and started doing all of that for the cops. Now there was this one wacky ass episode where he's helping them solve a murder that turns out to totally not be a murder at all. These parents were going, our son is dead. What happened? Help us solve the crime. Turns out their son wasn't dead so much as escaped a family that wouldn't accept him being a drag queen. And so he had a bunch of his drag queen friends get like a body out of the morgue and then destroy it enough that people thought it was him who got blown up. Now, it was unclear in the episode whether he was just doing like drag or full on trans and therefore was she. That was left ambiguous. But the point was that you know, they had the whole case turned out to be a sham. It was just someone trying to make their parents go away.
Okay, then.
Yeah. I don't know. We were talking about Klinger and that came up to mind. So yeah.
Well, Amiga nuts, I sometimes stare at women. Quite a bit, in fact.
Yeah, it just means you may have good taste. Because, you know, boys, ew.
Yeah, I know. Well, I can say that I've got impeccable taste.
Some would say you're a smidge weird about your taste. Well, I'm not wrong. Your taste is questionable.
De gustibus non est disputandum.
Yes, flobada blib blah bleeb.
Oh my, oh my, oh my. And for those in the audience who don't remember, yes, in taste there is no dispute.
I disagree, but whatevs.
Oh,
I
boy.
think you can definitely dispute taste.
Oh, well. What are we having? Oh, wait a minute. Oh, jeez. I am so sorry, Beach 8. Doing construction at the beach now. It's very distracting. Yeah, well, maybe not for too much longer. I don't know.
Well, what do you like, listening to us in headphones or something?
No, doing the construction work here in Allegheny County, there's some rumbling going on about going from green back to yellow. Because,
Huh?
well, okay, doing construction at the beach now, it's very distracting. The young lady scantily clad on the
Okay,
beach.
hold on,
On,
stop for a second. Just define red and yellow for me.
oh, I'm sorry. I had thought it was out there. The traffic light system for levels of reopening. There's red.
What?
There's red where everything is COVID
Hold
not
on. No,
locked. Everything is
rewind,
COVID locked
rewind,
down.
rewind, because I'm already lost. Whatever this traffic light thing about reopening is, we're not doing it here, so you're going to have to start at the beginning.
Okay, some places, Pennsylvania included, have a red light, yellow light, green light system for identifying the levels of restrictions and lockdowns associated with COVID 19.
And are they using traffic lights for this?
Yes, red light, yellow light, green light. Um,
So what happens to actual traffic?
no, they are not using the electric fixtures. No, 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 no.
Well, that's what I asked. Are
Oh,
they
I'm
using traffic
no,
lights?
no, no, no. They're just calling it level red, level yellow, level green.
Okay, well, when you said lights, that's where I got confused. I was expecting actual illumination somewhere.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. I got you now. Um, no, but it had gone to green light, which is not totally open. There were still restrictions, but not very many of them. COVID cases started spiking here in Allegheny County, and now there's talk about rolling some of that stuff back just in the
Hmm.
last couple of days. It was trending on Twitter, as a matter of fact, a couple of days ago. Well,
Hmm.
Twitter trending on my Twitter because they know him from Pittsburgh or live in Pittsburgh. Let's put it that way.
So I haven't actually checked in a while, and it seems that in San Diego County, we have 12,900 confirmed cases of COVID here. The recovered has a dash, but deaths is 360. So I'm not really sure what that means. I seem to remember I looked it up, and San Diego, it's something like, or maybe it's all of California, something like 3 million people. I don't know. I'd have to look again. But uh, I mean, our lockdown is pretty mild here.
Okay. Let's see here. Okay, here's Allegheny County.
Let's see, 1.426 million in San Diego. Okay.
According to this chart, Allegheny County has 2,472 confirmed cases, 186 deaths. Now that compares
See,
to
according to this, all of California, 211,000 cases, 5,902 deaths
okay,
in California, just California. Oh my gosh,
okay,
are we really up at 127,000 deaths for the country?
yes,
Ugh, and it looks like 500,000 have died worldwide. This is so
yes,
crazy.
yes, yes. I saw that one. Yeah.
Well,
Um,
what I have to say is that makes it interesting how smart most of the people I know seem to be. Because I've known like exactly 2 people who've ever had it, and one of them died. Like, personally knew. And
okay.
even then, it was just someone I knew from Facebook, and I have like, what, 4,000 Facebook friends? So, I mean,
Yeah, I'm looking at a chart here. Um, and oh my God, is that upper spiky? But I'm looking at this. Looks like it might be Allegheny. Wait a minute. It spikes up at 2,000. Yeah. Okay. So it might be that. It might be Allegheny County here. April 8th was April 9th was the highest recent count, on its way down until June 16th, at which it started back up.
And
And
I saw a
16 June
comparison
was
graph
about.
not too long ago where, like, they have the world, and a lot of countries are right. The United States is
And
on
then
cases.
levels off at the high level. Yeah.
Well, it hasn't leveled off yet, is the problem.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, people are
Yeah.
so fucking stupid. I don't even get like the number of people. I've even seen a meme going around where they say the government wants you to wear this mask in prep for putting on your burqa.
Oh, I've seen that one. Yes.
Oh, it's so stupid.
It is the poo poo.
You
Everybody,
get the-
it comes from my mouth to your ears. It is the poo poo.
I mean, don't get me wrong. If the world was as full of conspiracy theories as these people seem to think, it'd be a much more interesting place. But I mean, just because someone is bored with the actual world doesn't mean they should go around making up things.
It might be, I don't know, it might be a boring world as well, though, because the various conspiracy theories might negate each other. down to a level of,
What
no,
on earth are you talking about?
this conspiracy might negate the effect of that conspiracy, and that conspiracy might negate the effect of the
Okay,
other
no, I got that
conspiracy.
part. What I'm curious is if you have specific examples.
No, I don't. And I'm speaking hypothetically. Yeah, it might be uninteresting if you had all these negations going on.
I don't think we're going to see negations like that. Besides, conspiracy theories can survive actual debunkings. I think it can survive contradictions because, again, people are dumb.
Oh well, that too. But in other words, if the events claimed were actually happening, could some of the events actually prevent other events and everything else? And they'll shut up now.
But that's the thing is, I mean, they are like by their very nature, conspiracy theories are about things that are probably not happening.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, again, I think people can work through their cognitive dissonance of, well, this thing's been disproved by the Illuminati. This thing's been disproved because they don't want you to know the truth, et cetera, that kind of thing. And so, I mean, if like I said, I think it can survive that cognitive dissonance where it's like the contradiction didn't kill the conspiracy theory. I don't think that's how it's going to work for people. I mean, if someone genuinely thinks that the government is hiding the fact that the Earth is flat because reasons, and if that got disproved somehow, or if it got in the way of whatever war that they thought was being fought by the Illuminati as a way to control the citizenry, I think they could survive it. You know what I'm saying? Is they would compartmentalize.
Oh my, we've got a good one over here. Purple says we need to convince the MAGA people that wearing masks screws up the facial recognition software that the government is using to track everyone.
Problem is, there's article after article after article out there about how China has developed facial recognition that can recognize you even with a mask on.
Mm-hmm.
So that shit's not going to work.
Oh my.
Yeah. trying to remember what it was. There was something where it was like, here's how we get Republicans to vote for Biden. And there was this whole thing of like, oh, Trump represents this thing you all hate totally. And Biden doesn't. And I forget what it was specifically. I wish I could find it again. But it was like, yeah, Trump voters might be that dumb to fall for that.
Well, they are dumb.
Uh-huh.
And very destructive in their dumbness.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, no, Purple, if it's made in China, you'll use it once and after a half hour feel the need to use it again.
Mm-hmm.
Because anyway,
Yes.
yeah. I've never actually had that happen where I ate Chinese food and then was hungry almost immediately after. I hear about that all the time, but
I don't know where
really
that
hasn't
comes
happened.
from. I think it's a joke, but I'm not sure. I haven't felt it.
Well, but I mean, someone somewhere had to think it up.
Mm.
So, I mean, how?
You got me thinking though. Oh my, oh my, oh my. Do I want to screw up the entire kitchen? Well, not right now, but make General Tso's chicken soon. Because as I think I've said before, to make that stuff, I need to use virtually every cooking equipment piece I have, especially all the bowls and everything else. My God, this sink is overflowing when I get through.
I forget, was I telling you or my parents about how I think I've figured out what I'm doing wrong with the pork fried rice?
I think I remember you saying something about it to me, I think. Is it you were expecting one outcome, but not getting that expected outcome?
Well, yeah, but I think I figured out why is the thing. I was wondering if I had explained to you the why part.
Please refresh my memory.
Okay, well, what it came down to was the name is barbecued pork fried rice.
Yes.
The problem is that it's not barbecued the way we think of barbecue.
Okay,
And I
yeah.
just sort of assumed that it was.
Okay, yeah, gotcha now. Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the difference is, but I remember you saying
Well, you actually kind of bake the meat rather than barbecuing it.
Oh, okay.
And so that makes a huge difference for the way that the char siu sauce actually sticks to the meat. It's different.
Got it now. Okay, then.
Yeah.
Now, is that like the difference between barbecue and grill, or is that just different words for the same thing?
Honestly, I've always thought that barbecue and grill were essentially the same thing. Although I guess you can grill in a way that's not like sticking something on the barbecue, but I don't know.
Yeah, because what I heard about, as far as, at least as far as barbecue is known in the Caribbean, is that a barbecue is essentially a slow cooking process, while grilling is a hotter and quicker thing.
Well, I just picture someone says barbecue. I picture like a backyard barbecue. The thing with the charcoal in it, and the rack on top that's always like just coated in black stuff.
Moo.
That's what I picture when someone says barbecue.
I has to look on that thing, because I remember some. I'm trying to remember what his nationality was, and I cannot remember what it was. Difference between barbecue. Pero così che va tratto quel contenti.
For someone who claims to love computers as much as you do, you type so slowly.
Oh, well, that too. I never did pick up any degree of speed in typing because I'm totally uncoordinated.
Uh,
Yeah.
I don't know. I developed enough muscle memory that now I don't even look at the keyboard and I can be typity, typity, typity and talking and not lose my place.
I'm having enough trouble with wavity wavity, let alone typity typity.
Oh.
The four major differences between grilling and barbecue involve ding, heat, ding, time, ding, type of meat used, ding, smoke. Grilling is a high direct heat method. Barbecue is a low and slow indirect heat cooking method. Okay, for the type of meat used, um, grilling best suited to small, naturally tender cuts of meat. Barbecue, large, tough, sinewy cuts of meat with great amounts of connective tissue. Time, grilling, the average cook time when grilling is only 5 to 20 minutes. Barbecue can be as much as 18 hours. And then smoke is not used in grilling. Smoke is always used in barbecue. This comes
Man,
from,
this all sounds so persnickety. Like the differences seem, I don't know, a little superficial in a way.
I don't know. I don't know what the tongue says when you get through with it. You know, I don't know what those taste buds say.
I just mean the process. Like oh, this one uses smoke and this one doesn't. Like
In
okay,
other words, I'm looking at, I wonder what the difference, if any, in outcome is. Now, this is from some place called Thermal Blog. So, you know, take that for what it's
well,
worth.
it's kind of like when I hear people talking about wine tastings. I mean, I don't really drink wine, but the few times I have, they all basically tasted like each other. And then you get those people who are like, oh, but this one has a subtle oaky flavor. I'm like, yeah, but it tastes like that other one. Like,
Hmm.
big deal. And I'm sure it's probably the same way with like barbecue versus grilling. It'd be like, oh, yeah, meat. Big deal.
I don't know. I don't know if it's as pronounced as the difference, to my tongue anyway, as the difference between a red and a white wine.
Well,
But
okay, sure. Red and white taste different, but every red just tastes like red wine to me.
yeah, you've got a point there. Absolute point. Yes. I mean, I can tell the differences between white wines before I can tell the differences between red wine. I'm not a red wine person, okay?
Mhm.
Tastes like trying to chew
I'm
on
not even wine
acorns.
people in the first place.
Hmm?
I'm not even wine people in the first place.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Wine just strikes me as grape juice for snooty people. You know, it's like, yes, we don't drink beer because we're high society. We don't drink hard liquor because we're high society. It's all wine. You know,
Yeah, and then half of them spell that with an H anyway, but that's beside the point.
mhm. I don't know. I don't like snooty people. Like, okay, one of the things that always bothered me, and I know I've mentioned this before, is how everybody in Star Trek is trying so damn hard to be a Renaissance man.
Okay.
It's like that's one of the reasons I loved the character of Tom Paris is because he was more of an everyman. And like I was looking at a Star Trek board where people going, why does everyone listen to freaking classical music in Star Trek? And everyone was like, well, they were trying to make it look like everyone had refined and sophisticated taste in the future. And it's like, really? Because as far as I'm concerned, the point of any music, the point of any art is to make you feel something.
Yeah.
And if something doesn't make you feel something, that doesn't tell you shit about your taste. It,
Mm-hmm.
it just, I mean, like, it doesn't, or rather, it doesn't tell you anything about the value of your taste.
Oh,
You
right.
know, I
Absolutely.
mean, like rock and roll will always make me feel something besides boredom, where most classical music is like, yeah, 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 get on with it.
Oh Whereas, yeah, I love Beethoven. I just happen to love Beethoven. It's not because I'm any better than anyone else. I love his output, um, especially the piano concerti. But that's my favorite form, no matter who you're talking to.
See, there's a reason I can't stand that stuff, and that's because it seems to have no real structure. It's all like, you know, it's like there's no pattern to it. You know, I mean, I like it's definitely not chorus, verse. And I think that's part of why I don't like it, is it's so chaotic.
Oh, okay, okay. I mean, there are patterns to be found, but it's not something apparent the very first time you listen to something. To listen to
Or
somebody,
any
yeah.
time I listen to it. It seems like a stream of consciousness.
Okay, I noticed that sort of thing happening as you come closer and closer to the present day. You know, you go into late romantic, you go into 20th century. Yeah, you abandon.
No, but I mean, I see that in all the famous ones, Bach, Beethoven, Mozart, whatever, they all sound like that.
Okay.
It's just, like I say, there's no real structure to it. There's no real melody to it at all.
I like what Shadow Kitty says here. I love classical music, but can't stand hanging around with classical musicians. I appreciate that.
I don't know. The closest I'll ever get to liking classical music is movie scores.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like I've mentioned before, that I will connect with music based on the genre far better than I will based on like the tune. You know, I've mentioned that country music, which I can't stand, covered as pop punk, all of a sudden it's really good. You know, my favorite versions of, say, Pachelbel's Canon in D are all played as if they're metal. You know, it's like the flavor of it matters more than the specifics.
Okay. Sounds good to me. And now you've
Yeah.
got me thinking, how would Pachelbel's Canon in D sound played by a bluegrass band?
Well, okay, there's this guy, gosh, what the hell's his name? He's been appearing in my Facebook feed lately, and I'm subscribed to his YouTube channel, Johnny May. I know I've mentioned him before. He was the guy who did the ragtime covers of national anthems.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, that guy, I mean, like it's not bluegrass, it's ragtime, but still he does that kind of thing.
Oh man, I could absolutely hear the canon in D in ragtime. Oh yeah,
Oh, he's probably done that.
easily. Yeah.
But point being though is that how something is played matters probably to me more than what is being played. I mean, I wonder if you take those piano concertos or whatever the frick it was you said, and played them in a style, a musical genre that I like, would I like them?
I don't know. It's possible.
Like, you know, turn it into a kick and metal guitar solo. Would I enjoy it?
Hmm. I'm trying to get my internal ear to hear it. Um,
Well, actually, okay, let's see. Where is it? I have something I did where I made Pachelbel's Canon in D into a really bad sort of rock song sounding thing. And I was using that 4-track mod system I think I've mentioned before.
okay.
Problem is, I don't see it now. It should be one of my MP3s, but I think this is it. Yes, that's it. Let me fast forward because it starts with the regular version. Can you hear this?
Yes.
Okay, so in a sec, it's going to change.
It works. Definitely works.
right?
It works.
That like if you do that with some of that crap ass classical shit that I don't enjoy, maybe I'll enjoy it. I don't know. But
Let's
that to
see.
me was exciting. That had me doing this, where the regular version doesn't.
Oh my! I just okay. Beethoven Piano Concerto Number 5, Electric Rock Edition. I have no idea what
Oh, and
this
the
would
only reason
sound
I
like.
played what I played for you is because it's not copyrighted because I made it.
Yeah, I don't know if this one would be or not. I have no idea what this is going to sound like. I'm going to take the link location and drop it on the side chat.
Actually, you know what? I'm feeling mean, so just to mess with you, I'm going to say that it was copywritten.
oh,
Oh, I love doing that.
my.
Yeah,
These
there's
people
there
who don't, yeah.
people don't know how to say shit.
And what's worse is they don't care.
It's like, yeah. It's like when someone said, oh, yeah, we were being gaslit. No, you weren't. You were being gaslighted.
Move beef.
People dumb.
Well, I was in a conversation with someone years ago. There's, I had just moved to Homewood, so that might have been 5 or 6 years ago. Did not like the word dotard.
Okay.
Dotard. Did not like that word because it ended with the letters TARD. And it's like, look,
Yeah.
it doesn't work that way. There's no reference to the retard. I don't care. And it's like, oh, okay then. Yeah, this conversation's over.
For a very long time, I refused to eat mustard just because it has turd in the name. I mean, I'm still not the biggest fan of it, but I've learned to appreciate it in very, 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 very small amounts.
I became a mustard connoisseur somewhere in my 20s. I hated mustard as a kid.
Well, the problem is it's like almost entirely vinegar.
Yeah, that's the problem. As I discovered other mustards out there, it was like, oh, this stuff isn't all that bad, is it? I still, no, I'm not one for the French's yellow mustard, all right? You know, the stuff that everybody thinks of. But give me a...
Well, go on.
Yeah, give me a nice Dijon. Or there's another one with... I don't know if it's mustard seeds uncracked or if it's very small peppercorns. That's another really good one that I like.
Well, the thing is that, like, I've learned how to apply mustard in a way where I enjoy it. And I think I've mentioned this to you before, actually, where I spread it very thin on the bread.
Okay, then.
To the point where all it does is make the bread look slightly yellow, rather than just slathering it on there. Because maybe it's just a super taster thing, I don't know. But if there's too many tastes in one dish, it becomes white noise.
Okay then.
It's like the people who get those burgers where it's mustard, mayonnaise, relish, pickles, onions, tomatoes, lettuce, everything except the fucking kitchen sink. And I'm like, what even is that? Can you taste any of it? It just seems like it would be overload.
Oh my! And then some of them have, as you say, so much of the stuff. You almost wonder if there's a burger in there. And there was a McDonald's that was local to me. The lady who lived immediately downstairs from me worked there and would more than occasionally forget to put the burger on the McDonald's hamburger, and she made what became known as bunny burgers. Yeah,
Okay.
it was a McDonald's, cheeseburger without the meat. I tried to enter it into the Wikipedia database, and they called it nonsense and wouldn't take it.
Okay. Explain to me the name. Bunny Burger? Was her name Bunny?
Yes, yeah, her name was
Okay.
Anne Marie, but everybody called her Bunny.
That explains it.
Mm-hmm. She nuts.
Hmm. Well, okay. Oh man. Okay, yesterday I went to the supermarket and I bought a bunch of meat at the deli counter. And I have had relationships that didn't last as long as it took this woman to actually get the food to me. I'd like point at the thing I wanted and say, half pound of that, please. And she'd go, which one? I'd read the name off. She goes, which one? And I'd like say it again. She goes, oh, yeah, we got that in the back. I'll go get it and be right back. And she spent like 5 minutes in the back, you know, and then she'd come back out and she goes, so how much did you want? And I'm like, I've just told you I wanted a half pound. And then I get the second thing I wanted, and I'm like, yeah, half pound of that. And she goes, oh yeah, I'll get it in the back. Comes back, so how much did you want to get? I'm like, oh fucking hell. And this was after she served like 2 customers ahead of me. Like I say, I've been in relationships. It didn't last as long as it took her to get my freaking, sliced up meat.
Oh my, okay, that would have driven me crazy because one of the things I used to do is when I worked downtown Cleveland, there was an open air market called the West Side Market. They had everything, like fruits, vegetables, meats, the whole. I would go down there, I would buy a roll, then go to the meat guy and buy a few slices of whatever meat I wanted, and then go to the next person and get, pickle or some shit like that. Yeah, I can imagine trying to do something like that with the woman who was taking care of you at this place. I wouldn't have my lunch before it was time to go home from work. God damn. Um,
Yeah, I don't know. And like there was something I saw. It was some sort of like honey glazed ham or something that I was very curious about. Oh no, I remember what it was. It was tavern ham. I'm like, what the frig is tavern ham? I've never heard of this. And like she just sort of stared at me blankly, and I said, could you tell me what the difference is between that and regular ham? And it was like I hadn't even spoken. And then she like picked it up and goes, this? And I was like, yeah, what's that? And she's like, spends 30 seconds staring at it. And then she like reaches for what I assume was a knife. And I said, I'm not taking a sample during a pandemic, And so I was like, could you just explain to me in words what the difference is about like tavern ham? What the frig is it? And she couldn't do it.
oh my word.
And I was
Okay.
like, I don't know. She seems special.
All right. Now this is interesting. You're talking about, I assume, lunch meat, and you're talking about
Yeah.
taking samples during a pandemic. If you get some lunch meat out somewhere, what do you do with it before you eat it? Do you cook it somehow, or um,
What?
in my addled brain here, eating lunch meat is very, very similar to taking a sample of the stuff at the counter. And it's just the
Oh,
amount that
I
differs.
thought you meant in general.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I've just been snarfing it.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, I didn't know what it was about taking the sample during the pandemic that was.
Well, I mean, people are wearing masks, or at least the people behind the counter are wearing masks. And, the meat is all in cases and they're wearing gloves. I think the risk is small.
Okay. I mean,
But that's just me.
it's
Besides, if nothing else, the mustard will kill whatever's on there.
well, there you go. It's been a very, very, very long time since I have purchased lunch meat from a counter where it was, you know, in a loaf or whatever, and then you slice, 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 and here's your half pound.
Mhm.
Usually, you know, what I would get would be packaged or something like that.
Mm.
And like the salami,
Oh,
and then have my salami and Swiss cheese sandwich when I get home.
honestly, while I was waiting in line for this woman, I very seriously considered saying fuck it and went and bought some bologna. I didn't do it, but I was very tempted.
Okay, then.
Well, I mean, she was taking for frickin' ever.
God, it would take a lot to get me to eat bologna. It just doesn't do anything for me.
Well, I don't know. I like it fine, but I mean, if they had decently priced and decently tasting ham in the like package section in the Oscar Mayer section, I might have gone for it.
Okay, then. Yeah, well, one of the reasons I don't get the sandwich meat very much is, yeah, you buy a pound of ham and it's like 6.50. You know what? You know, come on.
Well,
Uh,
I've been trying to expand my diet lately because I've been sort of stuck in a rut. And, like my dad suggested a few things like sandwich meat, which honestly was a good idea. And he also suggested frozen fruit, which has been decent. I
oh
mean, I
yeah,
know a
yeah,
lot of
yeah.
people out there are kind of snobs about whether it's been frozen or whether it's been fresh
Oh
or whether it's still
please.
fresh. I don't really care that much, but I can take like a bag of frozen blackberries and eat them like they're popcorn.
Okay, yeah, I'm partial to grapesicles.
I've never frozen grapes.
I dearly love them. I really do.
Hmm.
And put them in a bowl, and then put the bowl in the freezer, let them freeze, and then pop one into my mouth, let it melt just a tiny little bit, enough to give you some resistance when you chew down on it. And then, yeah, it's to my mouth, it's actually a little bit sweeter than it was before I froze it.
Well, if I can find some decent grapes, I might try it. But honestly, the produce at the local supermarket is ass. It is so bad.
Oh my. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I take that back. The vegetables are pretty good, but the fruit is always nasty. Like the apples are always bruised, and like you buy a thing of grapes and it turns out that the really nasty halfway to raisin looking ones are like hidden on the bottom and things like that.
Oh
It's just
wow.
they yeah, it's their fruit is terrible. Like the only good ones are the oranges. And
Uh,
even then it's a bit of a crapshoot.
okay. At the local Squall Mart, I've been really lucky with the grapes. I'll get 2 pounds at a time when I go there, and yeah, for the most part, I would say 99 and 44 100% of the grapes are fine. Um, so I wonder what the difference is. You know, one of
Well,
those.
I have to admit, I've been resisting going to Whole Foods just because Amazon,
Yeah, I
but
know.
maybe I should just give in. I don't know.
Yeah, it's. I mean, for me, going to Whole Foods is a bit of a trek now.
Well,
It was a lot closer when I lived in Homewood, but then it was a
well, the
lot
one near
pricier.
me is screaming distance, so that's not a factor in my world. The real problem is just my indignation with, Amazon's business practices.
Right, right.
Not that I don't buy stuff on Amazon anyway, just because it's easier than most other places. I don't
In
know.
some ways, yeah,
Amazon needs a competitor.
yeah. I'll go with that definitely.
In fact, a
Um,
lot of things and places need competitors. There are so many where they take it for granted that they are the best of the best. They are the go-to, and I think that hurts us.
I hate to say it, but in some ways, their delivery system is a bit better than the other delivery systems I have to deal with.
Oh, absolutely. Amazon's delivery system is amazing. I mean,
Um,
like, did you know if it's delivered specifically by Amazon, not by like USPS or UPS or whatever, they will often take a picture of where they left the
yes,
package.
yes, yeah.
I mean,
I've
how freaking cool is that?
I had that happen recently when I bought little item of costume jewelry from Amazon. The guy was actually able to get in the building. I thought,
Actually,
say again?
well, no, keep going, but I have
Yeah,
something to.
I think I've said more than once where we have the doors to the outside and they have locks, but there's no buzzer system. But the residents here, even with the signs on the fucking doors, prop the doors open, even with the signs on the doors that say these doors must be closed and latched at all times. So the
Hmm.
Amazon guy will get in here and then he'll drop it off at my door, shoot a picture of it, and yeah, it's right on the packing slip or whatever you want to call it. Um, and there was one who actually came here, and I happened to be going outside, and I ran into him, and I said, "Oh, look at that!" And he said, "Is this for me?" Yeah, I was just about to call you. And whoa, nobody else does that.
Well,
You,
they can, and you can get notifications on your phone of, oh, this has been delivered.
yeah, I got um, the UPS notification system to work. The only problem is I have to be there for the guy to show up. Because if I'm not there to take physical possession of the package when he shows up, he puts it back in his truck and goes to the pickup center, which is a 7 mile walk from here.
Okay, here's the thing though. I mean, I don't know if you've used all the available options, but there should be a way. Like usually Amazon has special instructions
Well,
for the
Amazon,
delivery
no,
that you
Amazon
can.
is fine. Amazon is fine. The Amazon guy, as I say, when I got down there, he said, I was just about to call you and let you know that I was here. The problem
Hmm.
I have is with UPS. The problem I have is
Well,
with FedEx.
but do they not follow instructions if you put them on there?
They tell me that they are not allowed to. I know they're lying, but they tell me that they are not allowed to follow any special instructions.
I see.
Because I used to be able to leave them a note on the door that says delivery for
No, no, no,
Clarion.
no, 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 no. There should be a section on Amazon itself that
We're
lets you
off
give
it.
special
Okay, I'm
instructions.
feeling like you feel when you're talking to me. Amazon is fine.
No, 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 no. Hold on. No. When you're placing the order, there should be a box that lets you say special instructions. You can type them out on the order itself.
Yes.
And that should work whether it's Amazon or not.
Unfortunately, here it doesn't. It works when it's Amazon. It does not work when it's not. Because
Well, the thing is,
I've already
there should
talked. Hmm?
there should also be a way to bitch about that on Amazon.
I have to see if I can find the way to bitch on Amazon because when I call UPS, especially directly,
Oh,
they
don't do that.
they say we are not allowed. Yeah, I can't do the accent, and I know that I'm
Well,
being
but
snarky when I do
don't
this.
don't do it with the actual shipper. Do it with Amazon. They have more pull. I've gotten Amazon to make people straighten up by dealing with them directly.
Okay, Daprajnia. Okay.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
you
because
know,
I mean, especially when it's not through Amazon, when it's through, okay, let's say I place an order with Newegg, and they almost always use UPS. I can
oh,
get,
well,
I can get the UPS My Way or whatever the fuck they call it, where they have the little thing, and it's got three little dots on it. One of the dots says on the road, and then the next dot says in your neighborhood, and the third dot says almost there.
hmm.
It goes to the almost there dot 6 hours before the guy gets here.
Oh, well,
And I have to sit
yeah.
at the door for 6 hours waiting for him. Because if he comes there and I'm not there, then I have to walk 7 miles to the pickup place.
Well, it's like The words are different, but they do the same thing with some others where they say, "Oh, your item has been shipped." But what they mean is that a label has been
Yes.
created for the
Yes.
item, but they haven't actually delivered it to the actual shipper yet. Like the merchant hasn't
Yes.
brought it to the shipper yet.
I've seen that
And
happen.
that is
Yeah.
such utter bullshit.
Yeah.
But they do that kind of thing where they say, "Oh yeah, it's out for delivery and we'll be there when we get there."
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, again, another thing that Amazon has done right is if it's through Amazon and it's on an Amazon truck and it's nearby enough, they will tell you where you are in the queue.
Okay then.
Like it literally says right on the website, "Oh, there's 6 more stops before you." And they mean it.
Movie.
So, I mean, like as much as I've been deriding Amazon here, they do a few things well. And
Yeah.
delivery is one of them. Also, be wary of anyone who uses On Track. On Track is the worst when it comes to shipping.
Oh, okay. I have to remember that. Thank
Oh,
you.
I
Thank
hate
you.
On
Thank you.
Track so much.
Because next week, well, when the calendar switches over to July, I've got some ordering to do. That box behind me may not look very much different than it usually does. It is about 280 pounds heavier because it's full of water. I'm leak checking it. I am in the process of setting up the aquarium. And I will be buying some plantlets. And unfortunately, the best place I can go is mail order online. So, you have whoever is the common carrier bringing the stuff by. And because you're talking about living plant material, you definitely have to pick it right up. Um, so we'll see how it goes. Yeah, it's hopefully I should be done setting up the aquarium by the end of July. Hopefully the plants will be growing nicely and the fitties will be settled in and everything by Labor Day. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. I don't know. It's funny because like I've been sort of wanting to buy myself toys.
Shut up, Clarion.
Yes, not that kind of thing. Just because it is a pandemic, and I want to get stuff to fill the empty time when I can't work on the animation anymore, or I'll start screaming. Because after a while, that does get to be too much at once.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't figure out what to get. Like have you ever realized that most of your wants seem to be taken care of?
Oh, let's see. Yeah, a good number of them. I can say that my needs are almost all taken care of.
Well, I didn't ask about needs. I
Well,
said
I was heading
wants.
toward the wants. The wants, I would say 75%. I There are some things I like. Okay. I
Hmm.
want a house of my own with a nice yard where I can have roses and a little swimming
Well,
pool
okay,
and
okay, hold on. I mean, obviously, I've got my own dream house that I want to get. That's not the kind of thing I'm talking about. I'm talking about games and toys and entertainment and DVDs and Blu-ray and all that kind of thing.
oh, okay,
And that's
okay.
why I said I wanted to get myself a toy, something to play with during the pandemic while I'm bored out of my freaking head.
Now I'm weird, and you well know this,
Hmm.
but that sort of thing I don't find myself wanting very much. Sometimes, yes.
Really?
Sometimes something will capture my attention, some toy or something. Um, Books, especially, will capture my attention.
Hmm.
But the most recent computer game or something, no, that for some reason I just don't notice that stuff. I know you
Well, I
do,
mean,
and you
not
love
even
it.
necessarily computer games. I mean, just something like I bought the Firefly board game a while ago because it can be played single player.
Okay.
That kind of thing. Some form of entertainment. Like and I mean, as much as I'm entertained by books, that's not the kind of thing I mean.
Mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm,
mean,
mm-hmm,
you know, I would love to buy a Nintendo Switch, but because of the pandemic, everyone and their hamster bought them and they're all sold out.
Okay, then.
Yeah. So, I mean, it says, I don't know. I've been so the thing is that like I've got money in the bank and nothing to spend it on.
Oh my. And that's the horrible thing because okay, the money just sits there. It doesn't earn interest. I mean, what do you get? $1 on 10,000? I mean, that is the interest rate at my credit union.
Hmm.
1/100th of 1%. Uh, I mean, for Christ's sake, the online bank with Capital One is much better than that. But I don't keep that much money there. I keep two sets of bank accounts, one for home and one for the Lavender Lady. But
Well, I don't know. It's just it's weird to be in that position because when I was younger, there was all kinds of stuff I wanted.
oh
And
yeah,
now,
well the stuff I want I can't get anymore. It just can't be getted. Um, I want a Gilbert chemistry set like the one I had in 1966 with the stuff that could kill you. Uh,
hmm,
it was fun and a learning experience. Really and truly, it was. Um,
okay,
but you just can't get any of that shit anymore, you know?
you don't ever play, do you?
Well, I guess it depends what you mean by play.
Well, I mean, because you were saying, "Ooh, chemistry set, learning experience." I'm like, yeah, but have you ever just had a toy?
Okay, I have had toys, and I'm trying to remember. Okay, when was the last time I had a toy that I had simply for its entertainment value? Um, okay, it was a long time ago. I have to figure out
Mm,
how long ago.
just
Um,
seems like you grew up way earlier than I ever would have wanted to, because I still haven't done it.
yeah, well, did grow up kind of early. Um, I have weird tastes because I sort of raised myself. Um, I grew up alone. I mean, there was a neighborhood with kids there, but none of them paid any attention to me. Um, so, I mean, this is where my musical tastes came from. There was no input from peers. I didn't discover Led Zeppelin until I was in my 30s, for fuck's sake. Um, and
I'm
then
still trying to I haven't been able to enjoy Led Zeppelin.
there are a couple of songs of theirs that I rather like. One of them is called Kashmir. Um, Another one is the Immigrant Song.
Okay, there is a song that I remember enjoying, and I don't know if it's one of the. No, I'm thinking of the Who. Never mind.
Oh, okay. Now it took me a while to discover the Who, but I did discover them. Yes.
Well, I to date I can name exactly one song they've ever sung. So
It wouldn't be behind Blue Eyes, would it?
nope.
Oh, okay. Because I discovered the cover of that song that Truth Surge did, and oh my God, it's
Hmm.
brilliant.
No,
Um,
I don't know that song. No, I'm thinking of Baba O'Reilly.
okay, that doesn't sound familiar now.
It starts with this sort of longish sort of synthesizer solo.
Okay.
I don't know. I saw it in an episode of House and said, "Huh, this is kind of neat." And I took Shazam to it, found out what it was, and downloaded it, and thought it was pretty all right.
I wish I could remember the name of the Who tune that that Jeff was blaring in the Jeep when he took me to the hospital for the biopsy and then took me back home. Pretty darn good. I liked it. I just don't know what it was called. And I suppose
I'm
that the
sure
next
you
time,
had a lesbianopsy.
indeed, I'm sure the next time I hear that song, I'm going to burst into tears because it was just the whole setting, just the windows down, that song blaring on the way to get a hamburger. Damn it.
Hmm. Why am I totally blanking on that song? Okay, yes, it is Only You is the one I'm thinking of. Sorry, I had to go through the lyrics. The beginning of that The Who song sounded weirdly like the beginning of Only You, only much more complicated.
Okay then.
You don't know that song either, do you?
I know an Only You, but I suspect it's not the one I know.
It's by Yaz, also known as Yazoo.
Okay, because I'm trying to remember who this one was by.
Okay, well, let me just looking from a window above. It's like a story of love. Can you hear me? That one?
It sounds vaguely familiar.
Okay. I mean, it goes on for quite a while before they actually sing the words "Only You," but
Uh, okay, there's the one. Yeah, the only you that I knew was the Platters,
mm,
1968.
I mean, I've heard of the band, but I don't know their song. It was kind of like when I was telling someone about the song I really like called Dream Lover, but it's not the Bobby Darin song, which I do like actually. But this is by a band called Rebel Pebbles, and it was from like 88, 89, something like that. I don't know.
Okay, move beef.
So, yeah. One thing I did kind of consider getting at one point is this it's not quite a fanny pack. It almost in a way looks sort of like a holster, but it looks neat and I kind of want one. Let me show you what it looks like. The part I really like is that strap that goes around the thigh.
Oh, okay, the one that's just about falling off the bottom of the picture as it shows on my screen, but I see it well here. Yeah. So you've got it around the hip and then around the thigh.
Mm-hmm. I've thought about getting that. The thing is, it might not be big enough for the purpose I want it. Because if I ever do end up getting that Nintendo Switch, I mean, it can be changed from a console to a handheld thing, and I'd love to have some sort of like satchel-y thing or fanny pack or something that can hold it, so that
Moo.
it can be, I mean, I could bring it in my backpack, but backpacks can be, clumsy,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
cumbersome,
Oh, yes, they can.
that kind of thing. So it would be really nice to have this sort of like thigh bag, but I really only like it with the strap there because it looks sort of I guess I'll say futuristic or whatever. I found it's like the entry on Amazon calls it steampunk, but what I had looked up was cyberpunk. I really wish there was a way, like if Amazon's search system would let you tell it this, but not that. I know you can do that on Google. Don't think you can do it on Amazon.
Moo. Okay.
If I type in minus steampunk, I don't think it'll give me what I want. I think it'll actually give me more steampunk rather than less. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
I haven't done very much with the Boolean operators or any of that, so I'm not sure.
Well, believe me when I tell you it's helpful at times to have it. Because, like, okay, take for example, if I'm going looking for a new video to debunk, and I happen to go on to, say, like YouTube and type in religion, I will get so many covers of Losing My Religion by REM by typing in
Whoa.
religion. And it's hard to get rid of that, to get rid of the clutter that doesn't give you what you want. And then there's always that worry that I will say, but not this. And the thing I actually want, put that tag in there just to be safe, to get more people.
Daprajnia.
And maybe
Okay,
I'll
yeah.
end up not seeing something that I want to see simply because I'm trying to exclude a whole bunch of stuff I don't. And it's very frustrating at times.
And then we have over there who was, yesterday being a cat, not chickie. I don't know.
What?
Oh, you're talking about, this, not that in a search term. And it's like I'm looking over there. Cat, not chickie, because I made some chicken soup yesterday. And here, you want some chickie? And she's looking at it like it's from Mars. And it must be because it was part of a soup.
See, you left out the context of chickie meaning chicken soup. That's why I was confused.
Yeah, this one over here is definitely the chickie hound. Some kitties like tuna. This one wants chickie.
Well, my cats want anything that's even vaguely meat-esque. Seriously, oh, you should see. Like, I make a sandwich, and Xander will not leave me alone. Well, hell, he won't leave me alone if I'm eating anything. But especially with a sandwich, he's like, that's for me, right? Me, right? Me, right? Me, right? I mean, you should see him at feeding time when it's actually cat food time. And I've got their bowls up on the counter, and I'm spooning out the food and all that stuff. And he is down on the counter like this, going meow, 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 like that's somehow going to make the food come faster.
Uh-huh. Well, this one, I make I almost said sandwich, and I don't want to do that. I make I make a sandwich, and this one is swiping at the bread. She likes rye bread, and it's okay. Here, she leaves the salami alone. Might nibble at the cheese, but it's the bread that she wants, and it's like, okay, you are the weirdest cat I ever knew, but that's beside the point. I haven't checked out lately though. My Winston loved the canned pumpkin for the pumpkin pie, which really isn't pumpkin. I know. But he loved to eat that. Miranda liked canned corn. Because there was the one day I was opening a can of corn for dinner, and it's like, meow! It's not tuna. Meow! It's not tuna. Meow! Okay, here. Eat. Son of a bitch. I've got a picture of her with her face stuffed in that can of corn somewhere around here. And then Winston with his kitty face covered with Libby pumpkin.
Sorry, I was searching on Amazon while we were chatting, and I think I may have found much cheaper versions of that bag, or at least something similar to it. Anyway, yeah, cats are weird with their diets, I guess. I mean, there are times I think that Xander would eat Twizzlers if I handed them to him.
There's something I haven't had in a while.
Well, actually, what's funny is I've been rewatching The Big Bang Theory, and like Sheldon has these very particular tastes for food, right? And one of the things that he is very vehement about is that red vines are better than Twizzlers, and I totally get it. I totally get it. I have eaten Twizzlers, and it's like chewing on a candle. Whereas the red vines, I mean, the texture is similar, but the taste is more pronounced.
Okay, then I don't know that. I don't know if I know the Red Vines brand.
Really? That's
I
hard to picture, but
cannot.
okay.
Well, I haven't had a Twizzler in I don't know how
Well,
long.
I also completely understand why Sheldon prefers ices to slush puppies or whatever the hell it is they have at 7-Eleven, the big gulps or whatever. Like, I totally get it.
Okay.
But here, red vines. Have you seriously never seen these?
Um, I'm trying to remember if I've seen them or not. I don't remember them. Um, at least by that name.
But you
They're
see the picture.
I see the. I had actually looked them up, and I see from let's see, from Staples, I can get a tub of 5.5 pounds for 18.50.
Okay, I just spotted something I'd really want to try.
Wait a minute, are they purple? For fuck's sake,
They're
they're
great.
grape.
Yes.
I have never seen that. I can guarantee you that I've never seen grape.
I would try that in
Same
like the
here.
tiniest
Yes, I would.
fraction of a second.
Yeah.
But I suspect you're going to disagree with me on this
I
one,
don't know.
but actual licorice, the black licorice is so disgusting.
Um, I don't mind it. It's pretty decent, but I know it's not at the top of my list of favorite foods.
Well, I'm going to say that it crosses the line into awful. There's not great, and then there's, oh, get it away. And I have to say that black licorice qualifies for get it the fuck away from me.
Okay. Now I like ouzo, so yeah, I mean that's enough like licorice. Ouzo is an anise liquor, very popular with the Greeks, and
I
yeah,
was gonna say, it's like it sounded. I always thought it was a drink, and the way you were talking about it in the context of licorice, I didn't get it because I've never drunk it. I just knew it was a drink.
yeah, it's strongly anise flavored, and anise resembles licorice very closely. And the fun thing about the ouzo is you put that in, say, an old-fashioned glass, and then you drop an ice cube in it, and you can see wisps of white coming down from the ice cube because as the ice is melting, the water is reducing the solubility of some of the stuff that's in the ouzo, and it's coming out as this white cloud where the stuff is more soluble in the alcohol than it is in the water, and it looks really neat. Um,
Hmm.
but what can I tell you? Oh my! Oh my! Oh my! Oh my!
Well, see, now that makes me want to do the like Mentos and Coke thing.
All right. Has anybody ever figured out what does that?
Oh, probably. I imagine someone must have at some point, but
I never really paid very close attention to it. I know that Heinemann and Savage did something with that stuff years ago on Mythbusters, but I cannot remember what they came up with. I've never done it personally because I just never felt like getting Diet Coke all over everything.
hmm.
Yeah,
So I'm looking at these bags now because, like I said, I want to, put a Nintendo Switch in them eventually, and I'm looking at dimensions and stuff. So, ooh, that looks pretty.
Moo.
They have a red version of one that I'm looking at, and it's kind of cool looking. I mean, 1889, not a bad price for that.
Okay, then. Yeah, I know where I'm going to
Oh,
be.
sure. Sorry, I'm a little distracted, but that's okay.
I know where I'm going to be doing most of my spending in July. So, I mean, my discretionary spending. Because I'll start ordering the plants around the 1st of July. I'll have to treat them prophylactically for snail eggs, so that'll take about 3 or 4 days. I've got
I have to
some of
say,
this.
those are words I would never have expected to hear put together.
What, prophylactically and snail eggs?
Yes.
Oh, okay, okay. In other words, preventative maintenance.
Oh, I know what you
Yeah.
meant. It's just the juxtaposition struck me as funny.
Yeah, because oh my word, anybody in the audience who has ever maintained an aquarium, or I don't know if you have tried, Kate, it is so easy to import 1 or 2 snail eggs, and in almost no time at all, you have an aquarium full of hundreds of snails. And if you don't have the fishies that like snails as a snack, God, you're in trouble. Um, I used to keep tiger barbs, and they liked to snack on snails, and it was really cute to watch them. They'd roll the snail shell around until the snail got out, and they'd eat that and drop the shell on the gravel. But then when I was keeping tetras and angelfish that did not eat snails, so God, the thing would get so full of them.
What
Some,
was the thing you said? Tiger barbs?
yes,
Okay, I've never heard of that before. Let me look it up here. Tiger barbs. It might be what I'm thinking of.
it's a fairly
Nope, not even slightly what I was thinking of. Okay.
it's a popular fish with beginners because they're really easy to take care of.
I see
Um,
the tiger part.
yeah, that whole striping thing going on, and you can get tiger barbs that have sort of a reverse coloration, where they are white stripe on a black body, and then you have albino and all kinds of fun things like that. And just don't keep them um, if you want to have your fishies breed in the tank. They'll eat the eggs right up.
Hmm.
Um, God, I remember one time I had a Cory catfish, and they are notoriously hard to breed. And this one was laying the eggs and sticking them on the glass like they usually do. And there's a tiger barb right behind it eating the eggs right as she's laying them. I was like, Jesus Christ.
Hmm.
But yeah, with any degree of luck, we should have fish vision. As I say, hopefully the tank will be up and running and filling in with the plants and everything by Labor Day. We'll see what happens. You'll get to see it as it comes along.
I don't know. Um, I remember my parents did keep some fish for a while. They weren't my responsibility. My parents had gotten them like regardless, but I watched them change the water at one point, and it looked like so much work.
Oh, okay. Well, it can be, yeah. You have to keep up on it and everything else. One of the things I want to do is give a try at a low maintenance method that's been described in the literature. Um, we'll see if we can get somewhere with it. I've worked with the method several times in the past, and it worked for a while, but then things would get out of hand, and every time I'd work with it, I'd get a little bit better, a little bit better. So maybe this time will be the time I actually get it right. We'll find out.
I don't know.
And then we'll have
I
the.
mean,
Hmm?
well, it seems like it'd be great to raise fish, actually. I just don't want all the responsibility.
Okay, moo. Yeah.
That's one of the reasons I like that Creatura game is, there's no real maintenance to that.
Yeah, right, right. That's what I have to do. I have to go back in there and play around with it.
Fair warning, there was an update and apparently it was incompatible with all of the like previous vivariums that you could make.
Okay,
And so you're gonna have to start 100% over.
that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't doing so well with the Bavaria previously, and I don't know. Maybe I'll finally get something to the point where I'm doing it right. We'll find out.
Okay. So I'm looking at the dimensions with the Nintendo Switch versus these bags I'm looking at, and most of them seem really close to being the right size, possibly a little like tiny, 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 tiny piece larger.
Tiny, tiny.
Very tiny. Oh, wait, these aren't even sold by Amazon. Never mind.
Okay, I was
I've
wondering.
had the worst luck with like third-party sellers. I just don't even bother anymore.
Okay.
I mean, like I say, a lot of them try to use that on-track shit. Why? On-track sucks so hard. I mean, maybe they're cheap, I suppose, but oh,
Um, I'm okay. Here we go. On track shipping. I'm not sure I'm familiar with them. I don't know if I've ever taken a package from them
oh,
or
by the
not.
way, there's no K on the end of that. It's ONTRAC.
I found that out. Yeah,
Okay,
it
just
actually
making sure.
it actually did get me there, even when I said K. So okay, there's not much that it says.
29, that's the right size. Oh yeah, that's definitely the right size. It's like thankfully they have pictures of people like actually wearing these bags, so it becomes easier to see the size. And yeah, that's
That
probably
Prajna.
big enough.
Okay.
It's almost certainly big enough.
Yeah, at one point or another, I may end up buying a bag of some sort, maybe just one of those little things that goes around the waist or something, because if I'm going to go out and sit at the picnic table very much, um, I'm going to want to have a place to put my keys, because I'm not always wearing something with belt loops or pockets.
Hmm. Well, like this right here. That's
Okay,
about the
then.
right size for my purposes. So,
Okay, so you're going.
I'm still trying to decide on color though, because there's a lot of color options here.
Baby shit brown?
That's not one of them, oddly enough. I'm going to skip the denim. That just looks horrid. Wow. Most of them are variants on black. The only ones that aren't, they have like army green, sort of a dark navy blue, and bright ass red.
Okay, and then there's midnight black, and there's very black, and there's somewhat black, and there's blacker than black. And no, huh?
Well, I mean, some of the black ones are different shapes
Oh, okay.
and slightly different styles on some of them. But most of them are indeed a black color. And like the ones that are the design I just showed you, those are the ones where it's black, army, navy, and red. And then there's like 5 other black ones that are different designs. One of them even has like words all over them, and I have no idea what the frig they mean.
Okay. So
Like seriously, I have no idea what any of this crap means.
So it's
And
possibly
I'm
not in English.
trying to zoom in a way that will let me capture the picture, but it's not letting me do it. I guess I could share my whole screen, but now it's starting to sound like work. Yeah. All right, well, whatevs.
Move beef. Oh my.
Was nice, but I'm gonna say no. I honestly can't decide on color here. I think I should just go with blue because it is my favorite after all.
Okay then. Brings Bert Camford to mind.
I mean, I prefer more of a royal blue to navy, but
Well, you
either
would,
way.
being ennobled as you are, yeah.
Yeah, not so much that. I've never understood why people say blue equates to depressing. No, it
No,
doesn't.
it doesn't at
I mean,
all, no.
you take a look at Superman's uniform, you depressed? Take a look at the sunny summer sky with no clouds. Are you depressed? Take a look at Luke Skywalker's lightsaber. Are you depressed? I mean, I will never understand the whole, oh, I'm feeling blue. Fuck off. I mean, seriously, on what planet is blue depressing?
I don't know where that actually came from, the association, yeah, feeling blue and all that stuff. Okay, sorry, Ubuntu 16.04 experienced an internal error. I wonder what kind of internal error that was.
Sorry, someone was wrong on the internet.
Well, isn't that the case every day?
Yeah, but, they were wrong in my direction. And honestly, who else matters?
Yeah, I got a point there.
Well. What?
Is he broken?
Image. Cop. Well, that's just weird. Like the version I'm seeing here is uber high res, but then when I try to put it in my image viewer, boy, is it ever not.
They lie.
Yeah, well, apparently it's in some fucked up HTML format. I don't know. So it's not actually technically an image.
Okay then.
Or it's not like a JPEG or a PNG or a GIF or anything. It's just there.
Or Skippy, or what are some of the others? I don't know. And that kind of reminded me. Yeah, I don't know why it took so long to enter my head, probably because my skull is so thick. But yeah, hopefully tomorrow, maybe Tuesday at the latest. Got a little present coming. Yeah, my new phone ought to be arriving. Have some fun with that.
Yeah, I like my current phone. It's pretty decent. The only thing I wish I could do is make it stop trying to tell me that Bixby voice isn't configured properly. I'm never going to use it. But there's no way to install the fucking thing, so.
Eek. Yeah, I don't understand. Well, yes, I do understand, but it's very unnerving when they put that stuff in there, and everything depends on it. It's integral, and you wish you could get rid of it, but you can't. And Windblows did that a lot. I don't know if they still do.
Well, the really horrible thing they're doing these days, like with Windows 10, if there's a system update, they won't let you decide to install it whenever the hell you want. They're like, oh, by the way, we're rebooting you now. And I mean, yeah, you can delay it and you can set what time you want it to happen, but you can't tell it, look, just install it the next time I reboot, okay? That
Yeah,
doesn't work. That's not an option. They say you can put it off for X number of days, but eventually we're going to reboot you whether you want it or not. And it is
yeah.
such a pain in the ass.
And I've dealt with the way they reboot you because they screw everything up. Um, I remember I was doing movie night at one point when it decided it wanted to update and wanted to update and then reboot. And I'm telling it to put off the reboot because we're in the middle of a show. And when I did that, it just screwed everything up to the point where nothing worked at all. And I had to do that system reset or whatever they called it.
Well, that just sounds like your install screwed up.
Well, it had been installed for a while. Or do you mean the install of the?
The update.
I don't know. Maybe it did. I don't know. But yeah, it was telling me it wanted to, but I'm in the middle of this thing. And then finally, when the show was over, he said, "Okay, you can go update now." And yeah, really, really fucked everything up. Um, Now, I haven't had a problem since I moved it to the other machine. So I don't know. We'll see. I haven't had it on in a while. So it's entirely possible that it's wanting to update, but I haven't been booted into the system in a long time. So it's going to be mad at me when it finally get in there.
Well, I mean, honestly, like I wanted to use my Windows 10 computers as render farms, but that's impossible if they're going to reboot on me.
Right.
I mean, like there have been times I've woken up and realized I lost a day because it rebooted without my consent. And really, is there any reason why they can't just say, okay, we will install this update the next time you shut down? Like rather than saying we're going to reboot you whether you like it or not, if they could just say, you know, fine, the next time you turn off the computer, we will install this. Or even the next time you turn it on.
Yeah, I'm wondering if some shit is going through their mind where they think that you're going to find some way to avoid updating something that they want to use to spy on you. So they're going to somehow force you into it. I don't know. I'm thinking of all sorts of conspiratorial things here, but
Yeah, I don't think it's that bad. I think they're just idiots. I'm sure there was a Phil in the back of the room going, guys, you know how this could fuck people up, right? And they all went, shut up, Phil, and kept doing it. And I mean, if you look it up on the internet, there are pages and pages and pages of people bitching about this.
yeah, and they do absolutely nothing about it. So it's got to be something they want for some stupid reason, whatever that reason
Well,
may be.
it's probably something simple like we need you to update. Like we really, really want you to not avoid updating. And so like I've had times where I'm in the middle of a VR game. I can't see the screen. I have no idea what's going to happen.
Mm.
But they end up rebooting me. Like all of a sudden my screen goes black, or rather the visor goes black. I'm like, what the frick? Did this just break? And I look and it's like, okay, update successfully installed. I'm like, what? Oh, it's so frustrating.
I don't know. I want to know what the hold is that they have to where they seem to still have their market share, where and their people are not leaving them in droves for the shit they pull.
Well, I mean, what can you do?
I don't know. I'm wondering if enough people wanted to go to an actual operating system, could that spur development in stuff for something other than Windows? Say get the GNU people going on stuff that you usually go to commercial Windows-based software for. For example, you have the animation software that, what is it? It doesn't run under 10 or something like that. If somebody really worked at a animation package that worked pretty much like yours, without the new changeover.
Stop now. You're talking about Blender.
But isn't there a very steep learning curve going
I
from
don't know
what
about
you're
that part.
using
What I
to
know is that
Blender?
it's not enough like 3ds Max that I can just pick it up immediately. That much I know. But I don't know about a steep learning curve.
Yeah, because that was the one thing I was wondering about is how much does it take to migrate from one to the other? I mean, my understanding is once you're running Blender and you're familiar with it, everything's fine. But could that, call it an activation energy, be a barrier? Someone says, I don't have the time to learn, I don't have the skill necessarily to do the new learning. Oh my, yes. Yeah, utter abject failure.
Yeah, well, when I'm done with Quinn Redshift, the animation I'm working on right now, I'm going to start trying to learn Blender.
Move beef.
But I am not switching horses midstream.
Oh, right,
You know?
right. No,
Bad idea.
never ever
I've
do
already
that.
done it once. Originally, Quinn was going to be more of a photorealistic animation, and then I made it toon shaded instead. So that was
Okay.
once. Trying to switch to an entirely different animation system, forget it.
Wow, Amiga, I do not know if Windows carries an R hosts. I'm suspecting that they might, because at some point they might have been forced into conformance with the protocol that, say, Unix uses, just for compatibility reasons. Ah, hi there.
You the kitty. Yes, you is the kitty.
So yeah.
Okay, let's see for the Xander over there. It's
Is you is the kitty. Is you is the cat. Yes, you is the kitty, and you is not fat.
I am insane.
Oh, he's a skinny little fucker. Columbia, on the other hand, complete chubbo. I swear, if you look at her front on when she's like sitting, she looks like a small cat sitting inside of the back half of a large cat.
I've seen that picture, yes.
Ugh.
I see.
I've got someone on Facebook asking me a bunch of atheism questions.
Okay, I see. Yeah, there's the kitty ear. I see the kitty ear. Just off your left elbow. Yeah, I don't know.
The questions he asked, how do you respond to theists when they claim that the unreasonable applicability of mathematics points towards God? Frankly, unless they've said that in other words, I've never heard it before. I mean, I've heard people say, like, fine-tuning of the universe, which is what this sort of sounds like. But what? It doesn't even make sense. The second question was, what's the best argument you've ever heard from a theist? I said, I'll call you when I hear a good one.
There you are. Yeah, I have yet to hear a good argument, really.
I mean, that's the thing. It almost sounds in a weird way kind of unreasonable to say I've never heard a good one. But at the same time, I can't think of an argument I've ever heard from a theist that didn't completely suck ass. I mean, like,
yeah.
seriously, what's one good argument from a theist for the existence of God?
I cannot think of a time I've ever heard one, because had I heard a good argument, a good argument would have been enough to convince me. And I am not convinced. I have not been convinced at all. Nobody has given me a reason to be convinced.
Well, I mean, even if I'm not convinced, like an argument that would take you aback a little, that would make you go, huh, never thought of that one. Well, I can't think of an argument, like, I've never been flummoxed by an argument for God's existence.
Yes. Patrajde. I'm trying to remember here. Okay, I may be able to find it unless he's blocked me. Okay, it was on Sygart's channel.
What is it?
There was somebody who tried pulling something on me. Okay.
Well, what was the thing you tried to pull?
I'm trying to name the argument. I have to look at it to see if I can find it.
You don't need the name of it. Just say what the argument was. Like, what was the reasoning? We don't need its official title.
I don't know that it has an...
Okay,
I should have kept my mouth shut.
What are the arguments? That's all I'm asking.
The guy's name was... I have to find it here. I have the thread. I have...
What, do you know the substance of the argument, what it was trying to say?
It was... I forget exactly what the argument... It was one of the common arguments that sounds so much like presuppositionalism that it might as well be presuppositionalism, but it's call it presuppositionalism. And I basically told
Okay.
I told him I don't do presuppositionalism, and he said, "Oh, okay, Karen, goodbye."
Karen.
Well, to be honest, I did give him a bye, Felicia, but
but no one said okay, boomer, I take it. Have you noticed how that sort of just died out really quickly?
oh,
Okay,
found it. I found it. Yay! Okay. Sai had said he was a devoted scientist before he was a devoted Christian.
I hate it when they say that shit.
And I said, okay, Sai.
That's supposed to somehow lend them legitimacy. Oh,
Yeah.
he used to be an atheist scientist until blah, 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 blah. I fucking hate that so much.
And I asked him nicely, Sai, what is a devoted biochemist? He said, a scientist who, like all working scientists, is so devoted to the study of nature that they willingly give up any chance for wealth or fame to pursue an academic research career. I said, oh, okay, thank you. I just left it at that. And then this guy comes up. In fairness, science is an ideology in the sense that the brain looks at all things and processes them with assumptions, beliefs, and with a person's attitude. It isn't a critical term at all. It's just how we think. And I said, no, that's not ideology at all. Because what science is operating on is certain grounding assumptions without which you cannot do anything. And he comes back at me with the dictionary definition of ideology, and that's, I don't know what that's called, but it's where you're misrepresenting the term. And is it
straw man then?
Yeah, maybe that's it. I don't do presuppositionalism. Bye, Felicia. And yeah, I haven't heard anything from him since.
The problem is, like, I have made a habit. Someone comes at me with a dictionary definition, I say, okay, bro, give me the encyclopedia definition, because dictionary definitions will give you a sentence, maybe two, sometimes not even a complete sentence. And if you're going to use that as your definition, forget about it. You go to
Mm-hmm.
an encyclopedia and get a real explanation, and then we're in business.
Yeah, yeah, because this
Like, I've
guy,
made a habit of saying that to people. If they try to throw dictionary definitions at me, I'm like, no, 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 no. Not going to happen.
yeah, because what he's giving me is what he's using as an axiom, which actually requires proof. Whereas the statement, the universe is rationally intelligible, there's no way I can prove that. There's no way anybody can prove that. That's accepted as a grounding assumption, as an axiom. It is
Well,
possible to understand things about the universe. How do you prove
that's
that?
what it seems to be so far. I mean,
Yeah.
can you prove that? No. But yeah, you kind of have to assume it,
Mm-hmm.
or like you said, you can't do anything. You hamstring yourself if you go, well, I'm not sure if you can understand anything about it, so I won't even try.
And then his thing is that, I used the word ideology, and he's saying, okay, ideology is the manner or content of thinking characteristic of an individual, group, or culture. And it's like, yeah, but it's not grounding. The shit, it has to be proven somehow. It's not something that can be accepted without proof. And this is what they're famous for. They'll throw that stuff at you. They'll throw their God at you and say that this is a grounding assumption. This is an axiom. No, it's not. Because I can actually do scientific research without a God. You're telling me I can't, but I'm proving you wrong. And they won't
Well,
they won't
it
eat it. They won't
sounds
go for it.
it sounds like he's trying to pull that. Well, how can we truly know
Yes,
anything?
yes, and this is why I gave him the line.
For all we know, we're in an alien simulation. For all you know, we're in the Matrix. For all you know, this, that, and the other thing. And it's like, until you give me a reason to think so, I'm going to operate
Yeah,
as if we're not. I'm going to say what you see is what you get. Although it may not be like what you're saying. I agree. What you're seeing may not be what actually is so. I mean, like, until we developed microscopes, we didn't know there was a microscopic world, et cetera, et cetera.
mm-hmm.
And then there's like the people who go, well, I know that God exists because I look at the beauty of the trees, blah, 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 all of that crapola. And like, so yeah, you do have to make certain assumptions. Of course you do. But,
This
you
guy
know,
sounded like the bastard love child of Eric Hovind and Seitan Brugengate. And you know how that shit goes.
like, it's weird how these people with super closed minds are now saying you have to have a super open mind. That's just strange to me.
Yeah.
But like, what's the whole thing? Don't keep your mind so open that your brain falls out.
Yes, yes, I like that one.
I mean, there's levels of open-mindedness. Like, there's I'm willing to have a little leeway, and then there's I'm willing to believe any goddamn thing.
Mm-hmm.
But of course we're dealing with people who love their black and white thinking.
Yeah, and of course what he's trying to tell me here, and I'm not buying, is that my assumptions coloring my conclusions are that I'm looking only for things. I'm explicitly rejecting his God. Simply because I want to reject his God, and I'm not doing that. I'm simply not considering his God because there's no way that I can evaluate any of those statements.
Well, they always have to assume that like nobody has a rational reason for rejecting religion. They have to assume that absolutely every rejection of religion is like based in spite or hate or disappointment or this, that, or the other thing. There's no way anyone could ever just rationally come to the conclusion that believing in a god is nutty based on the available data.
Yeah.
They won't even allow for that as a possible explanation
Yeah.
for someone's atheism.
I mean, for some of them, I can understand it. Some of them are so, I'm going to say indoctrinated, or some of them are so invested in it that they do see no other way. But they've got their indoctrination, they've got their investment from people who I strongly suspect do see another way.
Well, one thing I've often wondered is how many people stay religious just because it seems like too much work to not be. You know, like
Yeah.
to say, oh shit, my entire life has been a lie. I have to reorganize everything, all of my thinking. Oh gosh, this sounds like too much effort. Forget it. I wonder how many people have done that.
Yeah, there's a definite point there. And how many hold on to religion because it makes them feel special? That they are the special creations of their God in its image, and, and they have some special qualities and powers because of it.
Hmm. I don't know. I still don't even get people who think that. Just because, like, well, where is the specialness? You know, show it to me. What about being religious made you powerful?
Mm-hmm. Well, I
I,
was
and
bathed
and
in the blood of the Lamb. I'm saved. From what, jackass?
yeah, you know, I'm like, give me something that's been peer reviewed, and most of them don't even know what that means.
Jubilee
Like,
Sobles.
I mean, give me something I can experiment on. Well, you can experiment with your faith, feel your feelings, blah, 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 blah. I'm like,
Oh,
feelings get us into more messes when we think that they are the real world, you
my
know?
my feelings are the last thing I want to depend on. And there
Right.
have been many, many very sufficient explanations for that. You know, very, very sufficient reasons to not rely on your feelings. Um,
I wish I could remember what it was. There was some project I was about to go back to. Like, I'm talking to my parents on the phone, and like we're about to say our goodbyes, and I say, yeah, that's cool because I got to work on this project over here. And my dad says, oh well, good luck with your project. I'm like, boy, do I hope luck's not a factor.
okay.
And it was sort of a paradigm shifting moment for my dad where he was like, yeah, okay, well, I hope it all goes well then. And I'm like, thanks. You know, but I don't really believe in luck. But like, I mean, depending on how you define it. I mean,
Yes.
because if there's good fortune, sure. But when most people talk about luck, they usually think of luck as like a magical force that changed the world.
Yeah.
You know, like luck isn't just, oh, good things happened. Luck is magic made good things happen.
Yeah. I mean, even if what they mean is not having um, deleterious circumstances pop up in your face, it's not necessarily luck as much as it is good training. Um,
Even if it wasn't that, even if I was just hoping like my favorite sports team wins the game or something, someone says, "Well, good luck." Well, okay. Well, I mean, what? Has the course of the universe been changed because you made a wish or that anyone did? Did tossing a coin in that fountain or salt over my shoulder have some sort of ripple effect that made the team win instead of lose?
hmm.
What? You know, oh, look, a four-leaf clover, therefore something about the universe changes. Okay. because you found a certain bit of plant life, the universe reorganizes itself around your desires? I mean, when you really think about it, the whole concept of luck is freaking bizarre.
It's roughly equivalent to prayer.
Well, yeah. I don't know. Like when you dissect things that people just sort of accept, and astrology, for crying out
Oh
loud. How
Lord.
does anyone look at that and go, oh yeah, the planets affect the world in some way besides possibly the tide?
Well,
Right.
it's
Okay.
amazing when you look at the guidebooks. I've actually had a look at some of the guidebooks that some of these astrologers have written. They are written so what's the word?
Vaguely?
Thank you. That's a good
Not
word. Yes, vaguely.
specifically.
That it could apply to anyone at any time over anything. It's
Oh
what
yeah.
the listener is reading into it rather than what the astrologer is reading out of it.
You know what I bet is there's been an experiment run probably by someone like James Randi or Penn and Teller where they take the day's horoscope. It's actually that day's horoscope, but they reprint it by swapping all the months around and asking
Oh,
people who believe in astrology, does that sound like what your day is going to be? Or even if they ask them at the end of the day, does that sound like what your day was? And see how many people say, oh yeah, totally, that's completely me. Or switch around the personality traits that someone with a certain star sign is supposed to have. Oh yeah, I'm totally even tempered. Really? Because that's not your month, and your month says you're a jackass.
there you are. I know that, yeah, something similar, something along those lines. Many things along those lines have been done. I don't know if it's
Hmm.
shuffling the months or if it's giving everybody the same horoscope or if they've both been done or other things have been done. Um, yeah,
But someone somewhere has done
someone's,
that
yes,
kind of thing.
yes, and
It
it
is a thing
always,
of the same kind, so it reproduces only with its own scams.
there you go. And yeah, every time it's, it's all debunked and everything. I like the way Sagan put it. At the time of your birth, the
Oh, the light from the star hasn't even reached yet, blah de blah de blah.
well, the even if you were talking about gravity, the obstetrician had a greater effect on you than Mars did.
Hmm.
You know, one of those. It's in the Cosmos series. I forget which
Well,
episode.
one of these days I really should watch that. I have it on disc, and I think the problem I had with it is that they didn't get to the sexy part quick enough.
Oh, okay,
Like I'm
okay.
sitting there going, I want to learn about space. Okay, let's talk about bugs for 10 minutes. No, I want to learn about space. Bugs. No, space. It spent so long just getting to the part I wanted to see that I got bored.
Oh man, I found the Sagan Cosmos to be absolutely fascinating. I mean, a pretty good job on the Tyson Cosmos as well, but my
Mm.
favorite is definitely the Sagan Cosmos. Um,
Well, if we just could
well,
have
he
gotten to the
just
cool
had
part
this
quicker.
way of telling the story in the billions and billions of ways, and no.
Mm. But I mean, seriously, there are so many movies, fiction and nonfiction, that could have been saved in editing, and I think Cosmos is one of them.
Okay.
Like I wanted to see about space. I don't want to talk about Earth. I mean, unless it's in context of the globe floating around in the void, I really don't care about the smaller shit. And I might later, I might like if you narrow down at the end rather than at the beginning, I'll be a happier camper. But I got into something called Cosmos to learn about the cosmos, outer space. Thank you.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Yeah, so you want Carl Sagan, not James Burke. Um,
okay, whatever the
um,
hell that is.
okay, James Burke did a series called The Day the Universe Changed. And it's all about inner space, about how we think about things. And how the way we think about them changes the way we see them and all this other happy stuff. Um,
Okay.
PBS
Is that
did it.
really the definition of inner space?
Well, I'm just kind of calling it inner space. I mean, one's own perceptions changing things.
Yeah, I don't think that's inner space. But okay.
I could do
I
some stuff.
honestly thought inner space was the opposite of outer space.
Oh, okay. I mean, I
As
could do
in
some.
like inner space is, well, our planet.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I can do some stuff with
Of
inner
course, it's also
tubes,
a
but
movie.
not necessarily.
Inner Space is also a movie, and a really fun movie too.
Oh,
Dennis Quaid, Martin Short. It's kind of a reworking of Fantastic Voyage, but not quite the same.
oh my. Okay, might be worth seeing. I mean, I've seen
Well, it's
Fantastic
directed
Voyage.
by
It
Joe
was a
Dante, and he rarely steers you wrong.
Fantastic Voyage was a lot of fun. So,
Well, let's put it this way: be prepared for it to be. Let's put it this way: be prepared for the regular size world to interfere a hell of a lot more than it ever did in Fantastic Voyage.
okay.
I mean, a hell of a lot more. If you start watching this, you're getting into an action movie. You are not going to just be seeing people swimming around in someone's veins. That's not what's going to happen here.
Now, this was called
But
what
you
again?
know, inner space.
Inner
You know,
Space.
yes, you know, at the beginning of Fantastic Voyage, where they're trying to get that one dude, what's his name, Bennis, to the secret lab or whatever, and he ends up like in the middle of a firefight, and that's why he's in a coma.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Well, be prepared for a hell of a lot more of that in inner space. I mean, I can just tell you because you'll see it in the trailer if you go looking for it. Martin Short plays a supermarket cashier who ends up getting injected with Dennis Quaid, who's been miniaturized because the scientist that managed to escape the lab that was under attack saw Martin Short as the only person he could possibly inject it into before he died of his wounds, right? And so the whole thing is basically Dennis Quaid miniaturized inside Martin Short, slowly running out of oxygen in the capsule he's in, while spies chase Martin Short around trying to get the miniaturization technology that is still present in Dennis Quaid's pod.
Okay.
And it's also a bit of an action comedy. There's definitely silly bits. So if you're going into this expecting Fantastic Voyage, prepare to be disappointed. It's similar. It's not the same.
Oh, okay. Move beef.
Yeah. But of course, like I say, Joe Dante, amazing director. Love his movies. It's hard to think of a movie of his that I didn't like. Okay, did you ever see The Burbs?
No.
Tom Hanks, Carrie Fisher, Henry Gibson. No? Okay.
The
It's
Henry Gibson.
as in the dude from Laugh-In and the
Okay,
Blues
that's the Henry Gibson. Okay.
Yeah. He plays part of a family that moves into a small suburban cul-de-sac. Now, this family looks really creepy. They kind of give off like a cross between the Addams Family and Deliverance.
Ha! All
And
right.
yeah, and so all the residents of this little suburban cul-de-sac kind of go nuts, going, "What's wrong with these creepy ass people who moved into our block?" You know, is assuming like, oh, they are probably serial killers who did this, that, or the other thing, and if we dig around in their yard, we'll find the bodies, kind of thing. It's a fun movie. He also did one of my favorite movies, Explorers, which is about a kid who starts having dreams of circuit boards, brings the circuit boards to his genius friend who builds them, and it turns out it's a way to go meet the aliens that sent them the dreams. It's a way to build a ship's drive that will get them there. So you get
Oh.
these like 14, 15-year-old kids building their own spaceship. It's pretty cool. One that I think you'd really enjoy, and I've mentioned it before, is Matinee, the one where they open a movie about giant mutant ants at the height of the Cuban Missile Crisis in Key West.
Okay.
Really fun. So, I mean, Joe Dante, kick-ass director. He did Small Soldiers, and he did both Gremlins movies. I mean, dude's awesome. Okay, I take back what I said before. Gremlins 2 was terrible. But other than that, and what director doesn't have at least one stinker under their belt?
This is a true, yes.
I mean, like, I haven't seen 1941, I think it was called, but I'm told it's like Spielberg's worst movie ever.
Okay, then. I vaguely remember the title, but that's about as far as it goes.
Well, that's about as far as it goes for everybody. The only actor I know who's in it, I'm pretty sure it's John Belushi,
Yeah,
isn't it?
I'm pretty sure, yes.
But other than that, let's see. John Belushi, Dan Aykroyd, Treat Williams. I haven't seen him in anything in a long ass time. Christopher Lee, Tim Matheson, Toshiro Mifune. Okay. Nancy Allen, right on. Robert Stack. Why do I know that name? Isn't he the guy who had that TV show for a while, like Unsolved Mysteries or some shit?
Yeah, something like that. Also, The Untouchables.
There was an Untouchables TV show?
Yes.
Huh. Okay.
Long time ago.
I'm seeing John King. Wow, Eddie Deason. You don't see him much anymore. Slim Pickens, really?
Oh, my word.
Man. Don Calfa. Haven't seen him in a while. I'm pretty sure he's dead. Let's see. Jerry Hardin. Wow. Okay. John Brandis is in it. Dick Miller. Yes, Dick Miller. I love Dick Miller. Awesome. And I hate that he's dead. I'm assuming it's the same Dick Miller. Yep, that's the same guy. That's one thing about Joe Dante is he will put Dick Miller and Robert Picardo in every movie. He can't do it anymore, obviously, but he did. Doesn't look like there's... Oh, well, Penny Marshall has an uncredited role, and so does James Caan. So this 1941 was like a big deal cast-wise, but I'm told it's one of the worst movies ever. It's got a 5.8 rating here out of 10. And yeah,
Okay.
Don Calfa's very dead.
Okay, so you say 5.8 out of 10. So do you get points for the film having a title? Because, I mean,
Well-
5.8 doesn't sound like absolutely eat the poo-poo crap. But do you get points for simply for the movie existing?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. So
Wow,
you
Sandra,
could
you are
get
chasing rabbits.
you could get a 0 out of 10.
I mean, potentially. Well, okay, let's see. The Room. Let's see what the rating is on the Room. Because 3.7 on The Room. I mean, much like Howard the Duck, this was an endurance trial to get through. Like, I could barely finish The Room. It was that bad. But, yeah, I bought a copy just because I couldn't find it streaming. And, wow. I wonder if there's a way to search by rating on IMDb. Like, what is the absolute worst movie? I mean, I can see top rated, but I don't see how to sort it by worst. I don't know. I don't see a way to do it.
Wait a minute. Is this the real thing?
What?
I just went looking for The Room movie. Okay, and I think I looked at how much did it make. Yes, okay, here we are. Is The Room a real movie? Okay, how much did The Room make? country, United States, language, English, budget, 6 million, box office, $1,800.
Really? That can't be right because I know that it's a cult movie, sort of like Rocky Horror, where people will go and they'll be all dressed up and shit. So, I mean, I'm sure it made more than that. I don't see a way to look at the box office receipts on IMDb. I'm sure there must be a way.
Okay, now from
Oh, wait, here we go. View production. Oh, you have to be an IMDb Pro to see any of that shit. All right, Wikipedia.
okay, from Wikipedia is where I have these numbers.
Budget 6 million, box office 1,800. That seriously can't be right. They usually have reception. Here we go. Release, promotion, right. Ha! The Room played in the Laramie, Fairfax, and Fallbrook for the next 2 weeks, grossing a total. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, this is the midnight circuit, grossing a total of $1,800, equivalent to $2,500 in 2019, before it was pulled from circulation. Toward the end of its run, Laramie, I can't pronounce that. Laemmie, or is that an L? It's hard to tell. Fallbrook Theater displayed 2 signs on the inside of the ticket window in relation to the film. One that reads "No refunds," and another citing a blurb from an early review. This film is like being stabbed in the head. Wow. Yeah. Okay, I might have to go soon. It's almost 1 p.m. and I am starving. I haven't had breakfast yet.
Oh, Daprozhnie. Okay, yeah, well, it probably wouldn't be that bad an idea for me to pull a pint of soup out of the frigginator as well. I mean, it's 15:45 hours here, so it's 3:45. And likewise, I have not ingested any food-like material since I woke. Yeah, I didn't even have any ice cream up there, so I could take a spoonful. But yeah, I actually made some soup yesterday, and there's plenty of soup there for me, and I can have some, and the kitty can probably turn her nose up at the chickie in it. Right, Sylvia? Where is Sylvia? She's around here somewhere. Hiding. Oh, there she is. She's in the cat bed.
Okay, here we go. How much has The Room grossed in total? Let's see. Says here, according to James Franco, Tommy makes $500,000 to $1 million a year off of The Room to this day. Given that it has been about 15 years since it was released, it's made anywhere between $7.5 million to $15 million. Or maybe that's just what Tommy himself has made from it, and the theaters screening it took half the money themselves, in which case the maximum gross would be $30 million. So I don't know what Wikipedia is saying, but I mean, it makes sense that it would have made a lot more money than $1,800. Maybe it made $1,800 in its initial run.
That's what I'm thinking. Yes. Well, let's see. The citation here is the crazy cult of The Room. Okay, so that's not going to narrow it down too well. From entertainment. Moo?
Yeah. No, sorry. I was pulling up. Someone wanted me to look at a video and tell him if the argument in it made any sense. So I pulled it up and I paused it so that I can watch it when we're done. Just so I still have the link and won't forget. But yeah, I really do need food anyway, so I will catch you later.
Okay, well, thanks. Thanks for the stuff, and yay, and it's always yay to have you around. And I guess maybe Tuesday then. Let's see if we can avoid being in pain on Tuesday. And
Well, and I know I messaged you on Tuesday anyway,
yes,
saying like, look, I'm finishing a video right now, and I may be late if I show up at all. So
yeah, I did see that, and so maybe it did work out fairly well after all. And
fairly well. But this Tuesday I shouldn't have that problem. So I'll catch you later.
okay, take care, hon. Yay, and here we are all by our lonesome, and let's go to camera 2. Hi. Yeah, now you're seeing just one copy of my ugly mug. Oh, scheisse, scheisse. But Doomsday Machine 1972, I don't know. The Crawling Hand, okay. Oh my, oh my, oh my. Yeah, I think I just might do some food as well. Yeah, if y'all go to the Transgendered Chef and look up eating cheap lentil soup, I'm sorry, not lentil soup, chicken barley soup. That is what I made, and it is yummy and tasty with all sorts of essential vitamins and minerals and good stuff like that. Have a bowl of it, and I'm going to try to keep it down to a pint at a time and not just scarf the whole damn thing down at once. Oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my. But I want to thank, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank everybody who's here. I want to thank everybody who's not here. It's really great to have you guys come here and listen into this stuff, and I love doing every bit of it for you, and we'll just keep doing it as long as you keep listening and watching, and it'll just be a joy every time. And okay, then we'll do some breakfast. Chicken barley soup for breakfast, and maybe Kitty will have some, and we'll go from there. So, thanks a lot, troops. See you on the other side.